Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube super chat right here. We got one of the top 5 college football games of the season. You could probably argue top 3. Oregon and Ohio State is definitely one of the top 3, but we got number 5, the Indiana Hoosiers, 10-0, 7-0 in the conference, undefeated. If they win this game against the Buckeyes, they play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, but not so fast. The number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes, and they're 9-1. Their only loss is to the Oregon Ducks, 6-1 in the conference, heavily favored here today. But you never know what could happen on any given Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, or any day that we have college football or the NFL being played. Definitely the earliest stream that I've done in a long, long time. You know, for a lot of the people that are living in the Midwest, good morning. If you're living on the East Coast, good afternoon. But for us here on the West Coast, I mean, it's 9 a.m. So got up real early, got prepped last night, obviously made the thumb last night, and then ended up going on a long walk with Paisley to kind of, get, the energy going since it is such a early broadcast here. But this is the best game on Saturday out of the whole entire slate. So sometimes you got to sacrifice sleep to be able to watch one of the best games of the year. And here I am, number 5, Indiana Hoosiers versus the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. And then as far as the thumbnail is concerned, I figured I would go kind of with my Oregon look that we did, obviously, with the last matchup. And I think that, it gives that nice kind of sunrise background. It took a while to be able to find a, picture of the shoe in the morning, but I think this is the perfect one. And of course, I'm always going to be making multiple thumbs. And then if I didn't use this one, this was going to be the other one where I have the players a little bit bigger. And obviously, normally I lean towards the bigger player image on most of them. But again, I thought that this would be a little bit better to be able to take a look at the stadium and the background of this particular setting. So your boy's always working hard. I'm always going to bring an A+ effort, and I can't wait to see what Rourke and Howard got going here today for the Indiana Hoosiers and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Good morning, good afternoon. Let's get it. This will be the only stream that we end up doing here today. But again, wake up early with your boy. I mean, hell, if I can wake up at 6, 7 a.m., for a lot of y'all that are in the Midwest, I mean, it's 11. If you're on the East Coast, it's noon. There's no excuses. This is the best game of the college football weekend, and hopefully it ends up delivering, and I feel that it will. Cole in the building, what's good? Sarah in the building, what's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We want to shoot for 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall if we get the volume. And of course, we're going to be shooting for the 100 in the donos on every single stream, even though it is a very, very early stream. Cool kid in the building. What's good? Cole in the building. Sarah with the Chromebook and a new one. I see a hybrid in the building. What's good? Let's get it, baby. I'm ready. And then hopefully as the game starts, there'll be a few people looking online to see if there's anyone else that's, doing this particular broadcast. I assume I'm going to be the only one doing it on YouTube. Again, a lot of people are sleeping in, recovering from last night. But one of the top 5 matchups in college football in 2024 is this morning, and I wasn't going to miss this. Again, the only other matchup that might have been worth doing was Notre Dame and maybe Army. Going forward later on in the afternoon, but it doesn't have the same type of feel as the Hoosiers 10-0 at number 5 in the nation versus number 2 Ohio State 9-1 and 6-1 in the conference at number 2 in the world. Number 5 versus number 2 doesn't get any better than that. Besides maybe when we had Ohio State at 2 and Oregon at 3, and we've had a couple matchups in the SEC, a couple matchups in the Big Ten. But definitely this was one that was circled on the calendar, and hopefully you guys are ready to go. Kickoff will be here in roughly 5 minutes as soon as the Ohio State band is done with their formation. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And I got the Ohio State pulsing logo And then I got one for Indiana as well, a little bit of a spinning logo. So whoever ends up having the football, you will know that by whoever's logo is in the top right corner. Let's go, baby. And of course, I haven't been able to do too many matchups with Gus and Joel because they are usually the ones doing this matchup at 9 in the morning for me. And this is the first time that we're going to be able to have Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson, my idol, and obviously myself here with the NWSF calling this game. I can't wait. And again, I wish Gus and Joel were able to move this game until like 5 p.m. because if it was at a 5 p.m. broadcast, they would get millions more viewers, because obviously it's going to be tough for some people that got errands to run and shit to do. But again, Gus is here. Joel is here. I'm here. I'm ready to go. This is going to be electric, and I can't wait to see if Indiana can pull off the upset. If they win, they play Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. Oregon's got a bye this week. Again, the number one team in the land. We got Washington, the Huskies, next week. And if we take care of business there, then obviously it'll be Oregon, Indiana, but we're already in the Big Ten Championship, even if we lose to Washington, which I don't see happening. And then the Buckeyes, they want revenge, right? They only lost to Oregon by 1 point. Many people feel that they are the best team in the country, not named the Oregon Ducks, and I would agree. That's who I want to play in the Big Ten Championship. I want the best of the best. Now, if Indiana earns it, I will want to play them as well. But I feel Ohio State should win this game. They are the better team, but again, you never know what's going to happen on any given Saturday. But if Ohio State wins, I definitely want them in that Big Ten Championship game, which we'll get. And there is a chance for the Ducks to lose. We know that against either one of these teams. And then at the end of the playoff run, if it ends up being Oregon and Ohio State again for the third time for the Natty, I think that would be my preferred matchup, because I don't want any easy routes. I want it to go through hell and back. And again, if Oregon's going to win it all, I want them to be able to earn it. And we have our hands full, obviously, in 2024. Ryan Day, 3-7 versus top 5 opponents, lost 4 out of the last 5. Oregon owns Ryan Day, at least at this very moment. But we know they have a lot of NFL talent on the board. Not really too impressed with Will Howard. Rourke obviously has been balling out for the Indiana Hoosiers. But for me, when you look at Howard and you look at the quarterbacks, even, Oregon's Dylan Gabriel, I just feel like this quarterback class in college football in 2024 really isn't that good. You got Shedeur Sanders, you got Cam Ward, and you got a few of these other guys like Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard. But, I'm not really sure how any of these guys are going to translate in the NFL. And again, some of them seem like project QBs. Now, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward probably have the up and up. With like Quinn Ewers being guys that most likely could succeed depending on the team that they go to. But for a guy like Howard and a guy like Dylan Gabriel and a few of the others, you might be good in college football, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be great in the NFL. And again, I don't really think that we have too many NFL players on Oregon on offense, and we got quite a few more on defense. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. You haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And hopefully we'll end up getting some people searching for anybody doing the broadcast here today, because like I said, I highly doubt anybody's really going to be doing this besides me. So hopefully we can get a good turnout here today as the game starts. And hopefully we end up getting a great matchup as well. And this will be the only stream that we end up doing here today. And then on Sunday and Monday, we're going to be doing Sunday Night Football and Monday night. And that will end up being the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams. Trap game for the Eagles. Can't wait for that. That's Sunday Night Football. And then we got Ravens and Chargers. That's going to be a defensive battle for the Chargers. Ravens, not so much, obviously, with their defense, but that should be an intriguing matchup on Monday night as well. So we got a good slate of college football today. Obviously, this is the best game. And then obviously some good NFL on Sunday and Monday. A little bit of raindrops here in the shoe. And here we go. Let's go, baby. If Ohio State drops, they're not going to drop by much. Maybe one spot. I mean, this team is, maybe 2. I don't really think that they're going to be dropping too much because, let's be honest, even with an Ohio State team with 2 losses, they're still better than 99% of the country. Let's be real. Let's be honest. We can't hate on them. And again, we'll see how it goes. But again, I don't know if Indiana has enough depth and NFL players to match up with Ohio State, but here we go. Double E in the building. What's good? But I don't think that they would drop too many spots. I mean, they could end up dropping 4 or 5 spots. That is possible, but I guess it really depends on what the rest of the country does, that is in the top 5 and top 10, and if they win or if they lose. But, even with 2 losses, Ohio State is still legit one of the best in the world. Judkins, hand off, little short gain there. 3-yard gain. Second down and 7 on the OSU 28. Let's go. Peekaboo, peekaboo. And that Kendrick album was ridiculous. Thank you for the heads up. Let all my friends know early in the morning yesterday. I listened to it twice all the way through, probably another 2 times today. Can't wait for it. Shotgun set, Howard, screen pass, Judkins. And Ohio State's got a lot of NFL players. And again, they have speed, they have power, they have agility. They got a great coach. Maybe not as good as Dan Lanning, but Ryan Day is still one of the top 5 coaches in the game, right? You got Ryan Day, you got Sarkisian in Texas, you got Dan Lanning at Oregon, and that's kind of the cream of the crop, at least in the 2024 season, since we obviously know Saban and Harbaugh have moved on. Third down and 5 on the OSU 30. Howard, but I don't have Ohio State losing this game, so I mean, it'll take a crazy performance out of Indiana to win. I'm not saying it's impossible, but again, great record, 10-0, but they haven't beat a ranked opponent. So again, there's a lot of teams that are in the college football playoff right now that are bitching and moaning about Oregon being number 1 or Ohio State being number 2. But again, if you are one of these other teams, who have you beaten? And again, a lot of the teams that are undefeated or only have 1 loss, they haven't even played a ranked opponent. In the whole 2024 season, Oregon has played the most with 3. So we can only play who's on the schedule, right? But Boise State, Illinois, and Ohio State are our top 25 wins. And, jealousy is a motherfucker. All right. Good defense there out in Indiana. We'll see what Rourke can do here for Indiana. From Canada, obviously playing at Ohio and ended up transferring. Rourke is very disciplined. And again, if he just plays within himself, hopefully they can get on the board early and often and make this a game. And Indiana definitely has a chance here today. Yeah, amazing, man. And I like the vibes. Within the album, 80s vibes. The collabs were amazing with Peso and some of the others kind of towards the end of the album. SZA, we already know what that's all about. Anything you listen to kind of reminds me of a Black Panther when he ends up collabing. Shotgun set. Handoff right up the gut. Nice defense there by the Buckeyes. But I like the, subtle collabs. He doesn't have too many, and again, he has different style where he'll, rap like Tupac in one song and have his own style in another, slow it down, speed it up, have the club bangers, have the cruising music. It's probably the most complete album that I've listened to in maybe 10 years. It's that good. And, again, every year that Kendrick has put out an album, I know the Warriors have won a title. It's not going to happen this year. But again, thank you so much for coming out with an album. I think we needed that. Going long, going deep, got a man. Just overthrown, incomplete. Miles Price was the intended receiver there. That would have been a huge play. But again, Tyler coming out earlier in the week around Monday. Then you got Kendrick coming out on Friday. 2024, we are in a very good place at the moment. Let's go. Rap game is slowly but surely coming back. And I feel that it was at kind of a stalemate going into 2024. Then you had the J. Cole, Drake, as well as the Kendrick Lamar beef. J. Cole stepped out, and then it ended up just being one-on-one. But then, obviously, I think Kendrick has settled that he is the best in the game, and it's not even close. Third down and 9. Rourke, nice catch. First down. Hoosiers. Move the chains. Yeah, his lyricism is unmatched, man. And we obviously know J. Cole is amazing. Drake is still amazing. But again, if you're going to go toe-to-toe with the greatest of the great, you better be on point, and you can never be slipping at any given moment. And, we definitely know who number 1 is right now. First down and 10. Move the chains. Let's go, baby. Rourke and shotgun. Handoff up the gut. Short gain. How you doing, Elliot? You doing good? I know you got to be doing pretty good. With everything considered. Music is out. And anything that's healing for the soul. When you can end up having sports, but then more importantly, you have that music. And it's far and few between when we end up having great albums getting dropped left and right. Rourke towards the sideline, back shoulder, and there's the flag. Looks like it was just a little bit underthrown. I'm not really sure if that was a, like for sure kind of penalty. He definitely was face guarding, but the throw was underthrown. Flag on the play. They're going to call it pass interference on the defense here. I mean, he is holding him, and then obviously the ball's underthrown, and they're both grabbing each other, so that is a good call. That could have been offensive pass interference, defensive pass interference, defensive holding, offensive holding. I mean, they both were grabbing there. First down and 10. Shotgun set. Handoff. Lawton, short game. Nice. Keeping yourself busy the best that you can, man. And you got me. Anytime you enter needing anything, you got me, my guy. Yeah, but like I said, none of my friends, knew that was going to be dropping either. I think it was a surprise for everyone. Trips right. Shotgun set. Second down and 8 on the OSU 38. 36, excuse me. Lawton, short gain. Gain of a couple. 3-yard gain. And this might be a little bit more of a defensive battle than people think. Third down and 6 on the Ohio State 34, Indiana. See if they can continue their progression here. Rourke got a man. First down, Hoosiers. And Indiana's offense looking as good as advertised. Let's go. Hell yeah. And you got to think this is a huge opportunity. You're undefeated. You got a chance to beat one of the best teams in the conference. Normally the number 1 team in the conference, but since Oregon has joined the party, they're up there in the top 2, right? And you win this game, you give Ohio State their second loss, and you get their spot in the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. How amazing is that? First down and 10 for the Hoosiers. Normally a basketball school, but this year a college football school, and I love it. Handoff. Short gain. 4-yard gain. Best red zone defense in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. But you can definitely feel Uncle Mo and that momentum is in Indiana's favor. And I'm not really sure if people thought that they would be driving down the field this easily against the Buckeyes in their home stadium. And I love it. Second down and 6. Let's go, Rourke. Shotgun set. Nice pump fake there. Nice power running. And I like the way that Indiana's playing this. They're not, just throwing the football on every single down, running the football, playing with obviously discipline, and they're going to end up having it as close to 50-50 as possible with running and throwing the ball, maybe even 60-40 running the football compared to the passing. I like what I'm seeing here. Third down and 2 on the OSU 7. Big play for Rourke and the running back crew. I mean, you can get the first down by running the football here, but let's see if Rourke uses his arm. Man in motion. Handoff right up the gut. What a good play call. First down, Hoosiers. I am impressed, man. Because I think a lot of people haven't watched Indiana play this year, or maybe they've only watched him briefly. But again, the team is legit with their new head coach. Again, 7-0 in conference, 10-0, obviously in the Big Ten. A big surprise, just like Oregon was probably this year to a lot of these other regular teams that are part of the Big Ten. But again, just because you're on top doesn't mean you're going to be on top forever. First and goal. All right, Indiana, let's punch it in, baby. Let's go. We're on upset alert. First and goal. Shotgun set. Play action fake. Rourke with a little slant, and there's a flag on the play. Keyshawn Williams, an intended receiver. Defensive holding again. Ohio State, a little reeling here. What a route. Wow. And he's definitely holding and hugging him. He got burnt on the route, and definitely had to be penalized. And you get all these Buckeye fans in the crowd that obviously are not looking at the same thing as what we're looking at. He's definitely grabbing him. He's definitely holding him. You can raise your hands in the air, Ryan Day, and all those drunk Buckeye fans, but watch the replay. That was a penalty. Let's go. First and goal. Shotgun set, direct snap. Get in there. Get in there. Touchdown, Hoosiers. Yes. Let's go. Lawton, baby. I see you, Tyson. 6-0 Hoosiers. What a great start for Indiana. And again, if we end up playing Indiana, of course, they earned it if they end up winning this game. Again, obviously, the Ohio State-Oregon has a little bit more, a little bit more spunk, I think just because of the rivalry, and we only beat them by 1. But again, you got to get the job done here today, and there's no excuses. You're at home. Awesome. Extra point is up. And good. Right down the middle, 7-0 Hoosiers, baby. Let's go. What a start. I'm glad that I woke up super early for this matchup. Let's go, baby. Lawton with a 2-yard tutty, 7-0 Indiana. Oh, it's all good, Sarah. No worries. Yeah, and I was kind of conflicted, because normally when I end up doing thumbnails, I like to have the images bigger. So I was going to use this one, but then obviously with my Oregon stream, we ended up doing a look kind of similar to this. So I figured it would be a little bit easier to see the logos of the teams. You could see the background of the sunrise a little bit better, as well as the stadium there of the shoe. Again, and I always like to be able to show my creativity on what I can end up doing. But I think going this particular look for this particular stream was the right choice. And, at any given time, I can always switch it and flip it to this. But the bottom line is the game is on super early this morning. So regardless of what thumb that I ended up, putting out there, you're only going to get so many people that are up this early, at least on the West Coast. In the Midwest, it's almost lunchtime. On the East Coast, it is lunchtime. But here, on the West Coast, it's 9:28. People are just waking up, eating breakfast, running errands. So, but I am glad that I sacrificed a little bit of sleep and woke up really early to get this stream in. 7-0 Hoosiers. Let's go. I'm ready. All right, Ohio State, your turn, baby. What a great drive by Indiana. And obviously anyone thinking that they're pretenders or, not really contenders, they haven't watched them this year. And again, they haven't really beaten any ranked opponents, but still they're playing with an all-time confidence. And some teams that don't play ranked opponents get exposed and they get blown out by 20, 30 points. That's not going to happen here today with Indiana. Even though Ohio State's resume is better, even with the one loss to Oregon, the number 1 team in the land, and they only lost by 1 point to Oregon with a 9-1 record. But again, adding all these additional teams, and again, not really knowing what you're going to get, coming into every season. Ohio State has had the luxury with Michigan of being the best teams in the Big Ten year in and year out, and then normally Penn State is third, right? But now with Harbaugh out, they slide down in the rankings. Penn State moves up, but I don't think anyone anticipated Oregon or Indiana having this much success obviously in year number 1 for Oregon in the Big Ten, and then Indiana normally as a hoops, college basketball school. Nice to be able to see them produce a little bit on the football side. And if you remember, a couple years ago, they had Michael Penix Jr. over in Indiana and almost beat Ohio State a few years back. And then a few years after that, he transferred to the Huskies, and we've seen him obviously do the damage, obviously in college football last year, and now is in the NFL on the Atlanta Falcons. Well, just a little bit of a preview of what we were going to get a few years later from Michael Penix Jr. and now with Rourke. All right, Howard, it's your turn, baby. You're down 7-0. And again, you can't press. You have to let the game come to you. And we'll see if they end up forcing a turnover here or if they can end up tying up the score or at least getting a field goal. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. 4 more to get to 10. We want to get to 20 to 30 before the stream ends, if possible. Let's go, baby. I know it's a little bit out of Paisley's routine. She's sleeping on the couch now, wrapped her up. But as soon as, obviously, this game is up, then I'll have the rest of the day to be able to spend time with her. And, hopefully in the future, they'll be able to push some of these games out and make it change, because this 9 a.m. games are just, that's not doing anyone a solid, especially for the people on the West Coast. But they definitely could have pushed this game out to, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and got millions of more people watching. But I'm glad I ended up sacrificing a little bit of sleep to get this one in. And we're not going to be doing too many 9 a.m. streams. I mean, the occasional Mariner game, if they are on at like 9:30, 9:40, maybe a WWE pay-per-view or PLE, if it ends up being out of the country and it's in like Germany or, wherever, Australia, Brazil, and the time difference, if it ends up being early, then I wouldn't mind doing a stream early for that. But, normally for football streams, usually a little bit later, but at least it hasn't disappointed. 7-0 Hoosiers. Yeah, too bad that game has no meaning, though. It's like Michigan without Harbaugh. It's like peanut butter and jelly with no peanut butter or jelly. It's just not the same. We know Ohio State is going to beat the brakes off of Michigan. Michigan ended up being the best team in college football last year, and normally a top 2 team in the Big Ten with Ohio State in front of them. And obviously Penn State behind them, but they're nowhere near being good anymore, so they're right in the middle of the Big Ten with all the other teams that are just kind of average and mediocre. So, it'll be fights, and they'll still, try to, as we see Justin Fields here on the sideline, Michigan will try to hang around, but, there's no way in hell. Even if Ohio State loses today, they are not losing to Michigan. They'll be able to beat the brakes off of them, and it won't really have the same type of, intensity as far as that rivalry is concerned. Just because Harbaugh is not there, they don't have the same kind of players to compete. I mean, will I be watching Michigan and Ohio State? Yeah, I'll watch it, but it doesn't have the same type of meaning. All right, here we go, Buckeyes. Show me something. Shotgun set for Howard. Screen pass. Good defense by the Hoosiers. Let's go. Walker with the tackle. Good awareness there. Shedding the block. Great form tackle. They have good discipline. I see it. And obviously, a lot of good teams are a reflection of their head coach. You can definitely tell which coaches have the discipline within their players and which ones don't. Howard, play action fake towards the sideline. Tate with the grab. Third down. Colorado, Kansas. I'll be watching that. I want to take a look at Shedeur and Travis Hunter. It's a good way for us to evaluate college football talent. We're at the end of the year. We're going to be going into the NFL draft sooner than later. And again, you want to make sure you're soaking in as much as the college football action that you can get, because some of these players might be on your favorite team next year. 3rd down and 2. Shotgun set. Howard. 1st down, Buckeyes. Move the chains. Judkins. Howard, 5 for 5, 18 yards, but just a lot of checkdowns and screens. Let's see when they end up testing the Hoosier defense and secondary. We already know that Ohio State's got some of the best wide receivers in the land, and they get them the ball, though. Handoff. Judkins for 4 or 5 yards. 2nd down and 5. And obviously we know that the Buckeyes ended up losing their all-pro, all-American center out for the year, ended up having like an Achilles that was torn like in practice. So again, the offensive line not going to be as strong with some of the backups in there. Obviously they have a replacement at center, and the left guard and right guard haven't been that great this season for the Buckeyes. Howard, but it might be just good enough. Diving for that 1st down marker. See where they put the ball with the measurement. 1st down, Buckeyes. Move the chains. Nice little ref cam there. I like seeing that. I assume that was a ref cam. Cool camera angle when you can see it with the refs like that. I mean, at some point they'll have them on the players in the future. And then that'll translate over to the video games like college football and Madden. Handoff, breaking 1 tackle, breaking 2, breaking 3. And then you got 5 Hoosiers that finally gang tackle Travion Henderson. 7-yard gain to the IU 45. Nice job. Hard to be physical when you end up having one of your best offensive linemen out for the year, and that might hinder the chances of them winning this game, and let alone winning the Natty or even getting to the Natty if you don't have a piece like that. Nice catch. Like, essentially, that would be like Jackson Powers Johnson last year for Oregon going down, and if that would have happened, that would have derailed our season for sure. Hard to be able to lose a piece as significant as a center, especially when you have a good one. Most valuable piece on that offensive line besides left tackle or right tackle, depending on if you have a left-handed quarterback or a right-handed quarterback. But for me personally, I think the center is the most valuable piece on the offensive line overall, regardless of left tackle or right tackle. Line side is important, but up front calling the protections even more. Nice hurdle. Go, go, go. Travion Henderson is a beast. 1st down, Buckeyes. But it might be a hold. It's probably coming back. Got to be a hold on that offensive line. (7-0) Hoosiers. Great start to this game. Holding, offense, bring it back, baby. Hoosier fans, are definitely excited for the moment. Mr. Williams, thank you so much. I was kind of worried by, doing such an early stream that we may get a light turnout. We may get a very light Dono day or a light support day. But lo and behold, Mr. Williams, he's been gone for a minute. And thank you so much for your love and generosity. We really, really need it. And that's definitely going to make this Saturday successful. Thank you so much, man. $50 holla. We love you. We miss you. Your boy's always grinding, even if I have to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. and get prepped. I made the thumbnail yesterday. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for photos, and I got you. And another $20 holla. You're the OG. You're great. And again, I'm always going to be putting out the effort. Like, I ended up making 2 thumbnails for the game, this look as well as this one. And normally I go for this, but I figured this would be better to be able to look at the logos and to be able to see the sunrise in this early morning matchup. Mr. Williams with a 50 and a 20. Thank you so much. You are the greatest. GOAT, baby. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Love you. Appreciate you. How have you been? How was work? You got a nice game with the Rams and the Eagles on Sunday night. Excited for that. The Rams are actually a team that can win that division. Almost a sack lunch, and Howard falls to the ground. And I don't know, that might have been a fumble. Appreciate you, man. And of course, we know Mr. Williams is going to be the only individual that doubles up and not only does Cash App, but also does the Super Chat. You're the man. Thank you, man. And again, I need it too, because again, with bills, Cash App is always going to be a little bit lighter, because most people end up doing Super Chat donos. So anytime that we can get Cash App donos on top of it, it really helps. Because again, I only get paid once a month. So, taking care of Paisley, making sure that she has the right food, and making sure I can get the, internet bill, paid on time to continue the dream. Thank you so much, man. And another dono, $69 dono for that mental health. Howard looking for a target, scrambling, gambling, throwing downfield. Got a man. First down, Buckeyes. Move the chains on 3rd down and 35. It wasn't a first down, but they threw it for a good distance there. Mr. Williams, $69 dono for the mental health. We appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. I'm going to have to get Sarah to bust out the calculator. Appreciate you. And again, we know mental health is very, very, very important. And make sure you're taking care of yours. If you exercise, you eat a little bit better, you listen to music. Kendrick Lamar's new album dropped yesterday morning. Me and Elliot listened to it. He's listened to it 4 times. I've listened to it 2 times all the way through. Hit and thrown and caught. First down. Buckeyes on 4th down and 10. Now they get the first down. Move the chains. There we go. Thank you for being you, man. Again, I was really, really praying and hoping that someone like you would show up this morning, but no guarantees. And thank you so much for your love and your generosity to the channel. Let me know what you want to do for photos if you want any. But again, if you haven't listened to the Kendrick album, Mr. Williams, highly recommend. Probably the best album, and the songs aren't long. They're only about 3 minutes long per song, 3 to 4 minutes, and I think there's 12 songs on there. So you can listen to it within 45 minutes to an hour, and it's amazing. You get 80s vibe, you get cruising music. There's one song where he kind of raps like Tupac, in that type of style, the aggressive style. There's also good cadence, good flow. There's bangers that you can tell that there's going to be music videos for. He definitely goes at a few people as well. But definitely, for me, I feel like hip hop got to a point where it was kind of stale. And it was, I don't want to say it was dead, but there was a lot of just, bad rap that was out there, and again, we obviously got the J. Cole, Kendrick, and obviously, Drake beef. And then J. Cole stepped out, and then it was just one-on-one. And that's what we needed. We needed some music, even if it was just going to be like battle rap. So you had, Kendrick come out, then you had Drake come out, then Kendrick, then Drake, and then Kendrick, and then Drake, and then it kind of ended. And then obviously now, Kendrick dropping an album with no type of, recognition, no type of publicity. Just pretty much just dropped the album yesterday morning. And then if you were lucky enough to be on YouTube or, on Apple or any of the other, Spotify to be able to listen to it. But highly, highly, highly recommend. Very, very good. And again, it's probably the best album that I've listened to in like 10 years. And again, I'm very critical of hip hop albums. Of course, I'm always going to be, Tupac, right? Biggie, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, that kind of old school flavor, Bone Thugs, Ice Cube, stuff that I grew up with, but again, when it comes to artists that are out now, I got mad love for J. Cole and, and Drake and Kendrick. But again, it just seems like, with music and hip hop, there's not really a lot of originality. And I feel like, I need to see more artists and groups like Outkast, but you just don't really see them. really that often anymore. And again, if you are listening to music now, take a pause, listen to the new Kendrick album. It'll take you about 45 minutes to an hour. And I guarantee once you listen to it all the way through, you're going to want to listen to it again. Amazing. And again, it doesn't have a whole lot of features, and again, the different flow, where you're going to get a few slower songs, but they're not going to be like romance your lady kind of songs. They're just going to be kind of easygoing songs. There's ones that you're going to be cruising in the ride, and then there's definitely going to be like videos where you're going to get the bangers, that are going to be in the clubs. And I can't wait to be able to see what music videos come out for Kendrick and his creativity. No worries, man. Oh, visiting dad up north in Stockton. Nice. Getting closer to my neck of the woods up here in the Pacific Northwest. And then to working. Awesome. Day in the building. What's good? Indiana 7, Ohio State 0. 8 seconds left here in the first quarter. Yeah, and no worries. Again, you're a busy grown man. You got grown man things you got to do with the job and everything else. It's just really nice that whenever you come through, you always do whatever you can at the time. But again, like I've told others, even if you can't donate, come through, and come say hi and hang out. But if you can come through and hang out, and then on top of that, support the channel like you have in a very, very high way, it makes all the difference for me and Paisley and the channel. So thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you 110%. Hand off, short gain. Second down and long. Looks like he got about 2 yards on that particular carry. And that's the end of the first quarter. 7-0 Hoosiers. Yeah, and I wasn't, really too thrilled of the idea of waking up this early. But, this is a positive reinforcement that this is the best game, this Saturday. This is a top 3 game in college football, even though it's on at 9 a.m. my time. And again, if you put in the hard work, you put in the effort, you get rewarded more times than not. And thank you for rewarding me today. It feels good because, again, I was fearing that, man, this might end up being a little bit lower of a turnout because of the time slot. And then, you made it all worthwhile. So thank you so much. Anything you want to see photo-wise? It could be anything. Movies, TV. Again, if you haven't watched Penguin yet, Mr. Williams, you got to get on that. I ended up ordering the HBO Showtime app for a day. Paid $10, binge watch Penguin for a whole day, 8 hours straight, and then I ended up canceling it, even though, because I don't want to forget. So I end up having it for a month. And if there's anything else, I know a Dexter Original Sin comes out in mid-December, and that'll be when Dexter was younger in his early 20s. So I think Dexter is narrating, but it's going to have a different actor portraying him when he was younger, just getting into the groove of, being that particular killer in that show. I can't wait to be able to watch that. But again, definitely been soaking up some good TV. My Name is Earl, getting in on that from an old school show from about 15, 20 years ago. True Blood, watching that from the very beginning again. So I got a lot of shows that are on the slate, but definitely Penguin, highly recommend if you haven't seen it yet. And again, let me know if there's anything photo-wise you want to be able to see. Dodgers, Rams, anything that you want. I finally got a chance to watch Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine, that it came out on Disney+. I knew there was going to be a lot of violence, and I knew there was going to be a lot of swearing, but it took swearing and violence to a whole nother level, and I loved it. And I knew it was going to be a lot of that, but it seemed like they really did push the limits. And if you haven't got a chance to watch that movie, obviously I missed out watching that movie in the theater. But again, watching it here in the studio definitely made me smile, and I ended up watching that about a week ago. So, man, My Name is Earl is fantastic, and my dad recommended it to me, just like he recommended Workaholics to me when it first came out. He's like, "This is your type of show. It's going to be funny. There's going to be life lessons. You're going to see the friendships and the bonds. But at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those shows where you're going to feel a number of emotions." Where you're going to feel happy, you're going to feel sad, you might tear up a little bit, You might end up laughing, but the cast is amazing. And I highly recommend, if you're looking for a show to kind of restore your faith in humanity, with all the bullshit that we got going on, with racism and sexism and just a bunch of the bullshit that they do to separate us in the country and across the globe. That is a really good show to be able to watch and understand what's really important in life. And obviously having good friends and family are at the very top. And I definitely highly recommend that show. And I probably should have watched the show years ago, but I've had so many other shows that, I've been trying to keep up on all, Cobra Kai, all the latest, drop shows. As soon as that comes out, Outer Banks, I watch it. I'm very, I probably watch like 30 or 40 shows a week. I try to keep up with all the new trends, with everything that's coming out. But My Name is Earl is such an underrated show. And right now I'm on season 2, and I'm almost done with it. So I still got like 2 more seasons to go. And unfortunately, that show got cut off before they could do actually a true finale, which is a damn shame. But I can't wait to watch the rest of the episodes in my free time. Indiana 7, Ohio State 0. Let's go, baby. Yeah, I'm always grinding, man. And again, we've been making some good waves. We're hitting good numbers. We had our largest stream on the channel, obviously last week with the Ducks, where we ended up having over 700 people in the room, hit 15,600 plus, which was awesome. That's the #1 stream on the channel. And it's kind of ironic that 2 of the top 4 live streams all time have been Duck streams. And I kind of had a feeling that would be the case this year. Number 4 was Boise State in Oregon with like almost 10,000, 9,800 people. And then obviously Oregon and Wisconsin when we almost lost. Obviously the haters love coming in to watch me lose. And that one hit 15,600 plus. So hopefully as the Ducks continue to, continue their success this year and beyond, as well as hopefully the Mariners can catch up one day. And if they can make a World Series, then this channel will end up getting more and more coverage. Me being the guy as Mr. Seattle Mariners and Mr. Oregon Ducks. And up the gut, close to the first down marker on 3rd down and 3, and the Buckeyes got to go for it. But it felt good, to be able, even though there was a lot of haters, there's going to be some Duck fans coming in, but the reality is people love seeing people miserable. They love seeing people sad, angry, frustrated. Nobody likes seeing people, having joy, especially if their life sucks. They love to come in and talk shit. So, of course, it's Buckeye fans, Michigan fans, Bama and Georgia fans, anyone thinking that we don't deserve to be #1. So, and even though it was close, handoff up the gut, and it looks like that the Hoosiers stopped him. Wow. I don't think he got the first down. I think the Hoosiers stopped him there on 4th down and 1. I don't think he got it. Nice. Look at the Hoosiers. And again, Indiana wins. They end up playing Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State needs to win this game, but they're not as physical. But remember, their starting All-American center went out a couple days ago with an Achilles, is out for the year. So when you have your best offensive lineman out, right, you're not going to be able to be as effective with these counters and dives. And that's exactly what happened right there. Big defense by the Hoosiers. Thank you, man. Yeah, and we're just steadily just trying to go 3-0 Iowa. We're just steadily trying to go in the right direction. But if I can be known, not only in the United States but globally as the guy that does, the Oregon Ducks and the Seattle Mariners, that could be huge for us on the channel. And I just got to keep grinding and putting in that hard work. They're going to look at it right now. And then we'll sprinkle in a little bit of college hoops. We'll sprinkle in, a little bit of wrestling and a little bit of everything else. Let's plug in a few photos from my boy here. How long do I have before you got to go? Congratulations to you and my dad and everyone else. The Shohei Ohtani cost a hell of a lot of money, right? But we know at the end of the day, it's worth it. Even if he wasn't able to pitch, again, the Dodgers are not done. And again, they are going to be able to win more championships. And nice to be able to see that, not every team is going to have $1 billion to be able to spend. But it's not only just Shohei Ohtani, but Yoshinobu, getting, those right pieces in there, Teoscar Hernandez. So it's not just one individual. It was many individuals, but 3 specifically to bring it all together. And again, when you end up having guys like Shohei, Teoscar, and Yoshinobu, hard to beat when all of those guys are playing well on top of guys like Mookie and Freddie doing their thing. Appreciate you. Congratulations on the championship. I know you guys are very happy and they're not done. And this will be one of probably many World Series championships the Dodgers are going to have before Shohei run is completely over. And that is big facts. Very dominant, man. And then it sounds like the one of the number 1 Japanese pitchers is going to be joining also. So pretty soon, it might end up being a Japanese squad for the Dodgers. And, that would be awesome, to be able to get the recognition out that, hey, we know that there's going to be brothers. We know that there's going to be Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, and then you're going to get the Caucasian, studs that are going to be doing their thing. But it's just kind of nice to go from, Hideo Nomo, and then to be able to go from like Hideki Matsui, and then to be able to see Ichiro, and then a lot of these others are following in the footsteps, and then obviously now with Shohei Ohtani, and then most of the Japanese elite players are pitchers, but there are a few guys that are skill position players, first base, second base, third base, outfield, and you're going to start seeing some of these other players sprinkled into the big leagues, and don't be surprised if the Dodgers scoop almost all of them up. So I know, man, it's awesome. Oh, nice. Hell yeah. I mean, the only reason that Teoscar wouldn't sign is if they decide to let him go and they want to spend the big money on Juan Soto instead. But again, Soto's money is going to be huge. So, I don't think the Dodgers really need Soto. Soto, is going to be coveted by anyone who's got money. And he's already won a championship with the Nats, so I don't think it's really important to him at this stage of his career. He just wants to get paid. But again, if they ended up keeping Teoscar, adding Juan Soto with Mookie and Freddie and Shohei Ohtani, I mean, game over. I mean, I don't really see how anyone's going to be able to keep up with that. But hopefully Teoscar stays because I think that's a good fit for him in LA. 2nd down and 1 for the Hoosiers, 7-0 Indiana. And again, the offensive line, you lost your starting center, All-American, all-pro stud, and anytime you end up losing your best offensive line, then it's going to be pretty tough to be able to keep up that same type of run game and pass protection. And again, when you lose a guy in practice, tough. And now you're starting to see some of the trickle-down effect with Indiana being up 7-0. They look like more of the physical team. They look more confident. And even though Indiana hasn't beaten a ranked opponent, they might today. And if Indiana wins, they play Oregon in the Big Ten championship. And I would definitely be up for the challenge. Now, I don't think it's really Teoscar's decision, though. It's the Dodgers organization. If it was Teoscar's decision, I think that he would want to stay, but it really depends on if they feel that, the money is right, and it depends on if they're all in on Soto or not, because essentially they play the same spot over there in right field. So, it's either you are going to take Teoscar, keep him there, or you let Teoscar walk, and then you try to use that money to get Soto, unless they can figure out how to keep both. But again, Soto's deal is going to be a lot. It's going to be, some people were thinking 10 to 12 years, but it could end up being 14 to 15 years. And then the millions per year is going to be a lot, right? We know it's going to be like a $400 or $500 million deal. So, whether that be 40 to 50 million per year, not many teams can afford that. Only a few. Rourke with the check down. Good defense there by the Buckeyes. Yeah, I bet. I mean, again, and there was some ups and there was some downs, but really what it came down to, Freddie Freeman, with his son getting sick, and then Fernando Valenzuela passing away. Anytime you end up having a legend or a GOAT, someone gets sick, they have cancer, or someone dies, then you know that they're going to give their extra effort. And so I already knew the Dodgers were going to win it for Fernando, and they did. So they're just in a league of their own. 2nd down and 8, Rourke. Little check down, shake and bake. Almost to the 1st down marker. Yeah, and the Dodgers are always going to be recognized for injuries, right? Where they have all of these amazing starting pitchers, but when it comes to the playoffs, when it matters most, half of them aren't even available, right? And that's been kind of the bugaboo for LA. But adding Yoshinobu and adding a couple extra pieces just in case of the injuries was key. And that was really the difference, obviously, this year. And it was good to see Walker Buehler kind of step up and play well. Again, it wasn't necessarily the best pitching staff that they could have assembled with like May and a few others that were hurt. Oh, penalty there on the Buckeyes. But the bats came through, the pitching came through, and it was enough to get it done. And it feels good if you're a Dodger fan for sure. Third down and 1 with the flag. Ball start. Offense. Yeah, and having Shohei not even pitch, and to be able to have that type of success, I'm really happy for them. And again, it's going to be exciting. We'll see what the Padres can do as well. And hopefully at one point or another, we can end up getting, an NLCS where both of those teams go at each other, because that was more of a, a series than maybe potentially even the World Series. Shotgun set. Oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a Buckeye sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. And it's not like the Yankees are bad. It's just like when you got Judge and Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, again, really it was going to come down to pitching and defense. And pitching and defense was just, superb for the Dodgers, even though we thought the Yankees pitching and defense was going to be better, and it wasn't. And that was really the difference. Look at this defense right here on this blitz. 3 Buckeyes in Rourke's grill, and he goes down. 4th down and 17. And that's one thing that even the Ohio State offense and that offensive line might be a little, banged up with the injuries. One thing that's not is the defense, and it came alive there. Good return here. And they're past the 50-yard line. They're in great position to score here. All right, Buckeyes, your turn. I can get a couple of your Rams photos up here. Well, we got just a second or two. Get a little Cooper Kupp, a little Puka. Best friend, a little best friend. I'm excited about the matchup, too. I think that they have a chance to beat the Eagles. That's going to be a trap game for Philadelphia. And again, of course, most people think that they should win. But again, in the NFL, as you know, anybody can beat anyone on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. And I definitely think that the Rams, if they have Stafford, Puka, and Cooper Kupp available, they're going to have a chance. But again, we'll have to see what Rams team shows up. Sometimes they show up and look like a contender that could end up winning the division, and other times they just get rolled on. So we'll see where it goes. But I appreciate you coming through and showing some love. Let's get a couple Cooper Kupp photos up here for you. 7-0 Hoosiers. But thank you so much for your support, man. You definitely made today and this weekend a successful stream. So still people waking up at this point here in the West Coast. I would assume most people in the Midwest and the East Coast have been up for quite some time. So .9:42 left in the second quarter. 7-0 Hoosiers. America! You gotta love it, baby. Look at those jerseys. Beautiful. Remind me of Jim Everett back in the day. Love them. All right, Buckeyes, your turn. Yeah, and again, I feel with the Rams, you don't got Aaron Donald anymore, but the defense, for the most part, has actually looked pretty good, with all things considered. I mean, when you end up losing one of the greatest players to ever put cleats on ever, you already feel that it's going to be like, oh, God, this is going to be bad, right? But again, the Seahawks have had some injuries. The Niners have had like the most in the NFL. The Cardinals were supposed to be the worst team in the division, and now they're in first. So it's really up for grabs, the NFC West, as well as my division in the NFC South with the Falcons, Bucks, and Saints. I'm getting Mike Evans back, so we should be able to go on a little bit of a run. The Saints fired their coach. They're on a little bit of a win streak. And then the Falcons, who are taking advantage of the woes of the Saints and Bucks, are starting to hit a little bit of a wall. So it could be anybody in the NFC South besides the Panthers, and anybody in the NFC West, even including your Rams. Little underneath route. Ibuka, I like him. Second down and 2. Yeah, well, Saquon is going to end up getting his, but if you can slow him down, instead of him getting 120 yards and 3 touchdowns, if you can get him to like 90 yards and like 1, then you might have a chance. But I mean, again, if he scores twice or more, but again, I feel that Devontae Smith is out, so one of their key weapons will be out. So again, it might end up being a little bit closer than people think in that matchup. Shotgun set, Howard, screen pass. Hoosiers got good discipline, but missed that tackle there. First down, Buckeyes. And now all the Buckeye fans right now are probably thinking, shit, that offensive lineman injury might be a little bit more significant than people originally thought. Because they thought, well, we lost our center. Who cares? Well, obviously it's a big deal. And, the Hoosiers are up 7-0. And, again, if they win this, they play Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. So not only can you go undefeated, you would end up beating your first-ranked opponent of the season and then playing Oregon, which would be awesome. Captain Oreo coming in on the Dono train. Thank you so much, man. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. I don't think a lot of people are going to grind as much as me, as far as, even if the results might end up being a little bit lighter on the subs or the views or the donos. I mean, hell, I even made 2 fucking thumbnails. I mean, how many people would go to that extreme for a fucking 9 a.m. stream to go this route or to go this route? And normally, obviously, nice catch. Get that first down, good tackle by the Hoosiers. And normally I'll go, a bigger player, but I want to make sure that we can see the background. So I thought I would mimic, the Oregon and Wisconsin look from that particular thumbnail. So you can see, obviously, the shoe, and you can see that sunrise a little bit better with the team logo in the background. But I'm always, going to be creative and show you a little bit of this and a little bit of that and show you my work ethic. So Captain says he just woke up. You're missing a good one, man. Iowa, Oregon, describe fun. If you mean fun, us beating Iowa by a bunch, I don't know if that would be fun for you, but, they're not in the same level as us. That corner, touchdown, Buckeyes. Ibuka, baby. Finally, the Buckeyes score. I mean, again, if Iowa had better quarterback, better coach, better defense, better O-line, better skill position players besides the running back like Caleb Johnson, yeah, but again, let's be a little real here. Again, Oregon is the #1 team in the land. Okay, we're the best of the best. Again, the only matchups that would be, I really feel like, top tier would be these 2 teams. I don't think there's any other team in the Big Ten that would make it interesting. And Indiana could beat Oregon. Ohio State could beat Oregon. But I don't think there's any other team in the division that could beat Oregon. Maybe Penn State. And that's other than that, that would be the only 3 teams. But, yeah. I think choice of words was a little flip-flopped. Fun game? I mean, maybe for the first half, but all I know is that, when things are fun, you have a chance to win. And, in that particular scenario, you could play Iowa 100 times this year and they wouldn't even win once. And I'm not trying to be a hater. It's just reality. The college football scene and the teams, it's, either you're at the top, you're in the middle, or you're at the bottom. And at least you guys are at the bottom. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to be delusional, you can be delusional, But again, at least you enjoy watching Iowa, and that's really what matters most. Captain, what do you want to do for your Dono? And I got you. Who would have thought that we'd be able to get this kind of support at a 9 a.m. stream? But again, we have great people that are a part of this channel, and I really appreciate you guys very, very much. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Extra point is up and good. 7-7. We have ourselves a game, baby. Anything else you want to be able to see photo-wise, Mr. Williams, let me know. I mean, honestly, if Oregon played Iowa, we'd beat the shit out of you guys. I mean, Iowa would probably only put up, 13 points or less, and Oregon would probably put up 30 to 40. So, I mean, last time I checked, if you end up playing a college football game and you lose by 20 or 30, I don't think fun is the right word I'd be using at that particular moment. But let me know what photos I can put up for you, Mr. Williams. Captain, let me know, and I got you. We're at 150, 50 more to hit 2. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help your boy out. Emeka Ebuka, 11-yard pass from Will Howard. Fielding with the kick, and we're finally knotted up at 7. Got you. Well, I'm glad that the Buckeyes scored, so at least they can, breathe finally easy. This might have been the longest that it's taken the Buckeyes to actually get in the end zone. When's the last time you watched the Buckeyes get their first points with 7:22 left in the second quarter? I don't remember it taking them this long to be able to get in the end zone. And it's not like they don't have good players. I mean, they're the number 2 team in the land. They lost to Oregon by 1. This is legit a team that could win it all. And pretty amazing to think. I'll get you a few more once we get going here. Gus, baby. Joel, baby. And if we're really being honest, unless you guys get a coach that's like Dan Lanning, or, a Harbaugh, or a Saban, or a Kirby Smart, or Sarkisian, Iowa probably will never be in the same category as Oregon. And that's just the harsh truth. If you don't have an elite coach, you're not going to be able to get elite players. And if you don't have players, then you're not going to win games. That's just really how it boils down. At least now, there's no loyalty, where you're just going to be able to jump ship. Coaches and players, NIL deals. You don't have a quarterback this year. You're able to get one a lot easier than in years past. And in years past, it was Georgia and Bama with like 50 NFL players, and then Ohio State and Michigan with like 15, and everyone else with only like 5 or less. Hard to be able to win a natty when you're going against teams that have like 50 fucking NFL players. And then even if you're Ohio State and you're number 2, you probably only have 10 to 15, maybe 20 at the most, over like a 3 or 4 year period. So it's not really been a fair fight. But now with Saban out of the picture and Harbaugh out of the picture, for the very first time ever in college football, it's actually fair. And now we have a college football playoff, which it makes it even more fair that Oregon could end up losing to a team like Bama or Georgia in the second round in the playoff. So I'm very excited to see where the playoff goes. I hope that we win the Natty this year, but I have no guarantee that we can, we got to be able to win against Washington first, then the Big Ten championship against one of these 2 teams, and then hope that we can make it to the Natty, but there's no guarantee. It's definitely going to be up for grabs, not only this year, but every year moving forward. And I like that. It's about damn time that we've had it be a little bit more even instead of just having 2 teams or 3 teams that can win it all out of 100 college football schools, and everyone else is just like, well, you're fucked. So it's kind of nice to actually have a chance. I said it, man. What did I tell you, man? Like, I watch film, I read the articles, and that Ohio State offensive line is not the same. Howard doesn't have as much time back there. Oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. But one thing that's still elite is that Buckeye defense, and that's going to be the strong suit of this team moving forward, just like Oregon's defense as well. You know, we might be a little shaky on offense here and there, and I think that's pretty a fair statement for even a lot of the great teams this year, except for maybe Miami and Cam Ward. Their offense is better than their defense, but big tackle, and then a forced fumble. He coughed it up. It's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. And that offensive line needs to do a better job communicating with Rourke. Didn't give him any time to be able to release that football. I got you. That was an amazing game to call. Now, you never can count out the Buckeyes, you know what I mean? But again, Howard and Dylan Gabriel, they're not the greatest. You know, they might be, you know, towards kind of the top, you know, just because that's what we have this year. But I feel like this is the weakest quarterback class that we've had in college football in a long time. You know, obviously Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, you know, I'll have all flash, right? Dylan Gabriel as well. One-handed attempt, incomplete in the back of the end zone for Jeremiah Smith. You know, but I just feel like compared to, you know, previous quarterback classes, there's a lot of question marks. And I feel a lot of these college football quarterbacks are not going to make it in the NFL. You know, maybe Cam Ward makes it. Maybe Shedeur Sanders makes it. Maybe Quinn Ewers makes it. And Arch when he ends up going. But other than that, I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't think Will Howard is going to be a good NFL quarterback. These are, you know, if they end up making it, they'll end up being backups or project QBs. But I don't really see them developing on the next level. Second down and 10. 7-7 Hoosiers and Buckeyes. Halfback toss. Good defense there by the Hoosiers. Woo. Calling that the snow globe game. I love snow. And it's rare that we end up seeing snow in November, right? We normally don't see that. Snow before Thanksgiving. I wasn't expecting that. But I'll take it. I love snow. Third down and 14. Low snap. Shotgun set. Hoosiers bringing the pressure. Avoids the sack lunch. Intercepted off the tip. Oh, baby. Just the tip, baby. Woo! Walker with the tip. Nice job. Hoosiers. Buckeyes are in trouble. Uh-oh. I know Zay loves the Buckeyes, and there's going to be a lot of Buckeye faithful. But again, losing your starting center in practice with an Achilles, an MCL, PCL, ACL, it don't matter. If they're out for the year and that's your best offensive lineman, things are not going to be good for the Buckeyes on offense. Again, you know, there's still going to be plays that are made, but when you're used to having all day and all night to run, all day and all night to throw, and then you don't, then this is the results that you end up getting. You know, Hoosiers legitimately have a shot to win this particular matchup and play against Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. But again, it should be very, very close when it comes down to the wire. We'll see if the Buckeyes can force another turnover to get the ball back. But again, this game ends up being a lot better than people anticipated. Now, if the Buckeyes were fully healthy with their offensive line, you know, maybe the score is 10-7 right now or 13-7, 14-7 at the most, right? But since, you know, that injury happened, it's much more even now, and I love that. Snow game, baby. The snow globe game. It's always a treat to be able to get a game that has these type of vibes. Good game so far, even though it was very early this morning. And hopefully we get a few more like this. When you see shots from the snow, it almost seems like a movie. Like it doesn't seem real. And in the first half, it was barely coming down, but by the second half, it was a fucking blizzard. And I love games like that. I mean, obviously, a low-scoring matchup and like this, like where you could barely even see the players or the football or the screen. This is my type of football, and hopefully we get a few more games like this. Obviously, not only in the college football season, but also in the NFL season. Awesome. All right, Indiana, let's see if you can convert off that tipped interception, baby. I don't think you guys have looked terrible in the first half. Almost every game. I mean, again, it all depends on who you're playing and how it goes. Obviously we know Ryan Day has a hard time beating top 5 opponents. Oregon kind of owns him at this particular point, but he's still a great coach, still one of the top 5 coaches in the game. You got Lanning at 1, and then obviously you got many others. Kirby Smart, Sarkisian, Ryan Day right below him, all in the same kind of group and whatnot. But yeah, I think Sanders, obviously could be one of the better ones, but it all depends on what team he goes to. If Sanders ends up going to like the Giants, do we really think that he's going to be like an amazing player? It really depends on the culture and the team and the coach, that you go to. But I do think that, him and Cam Ward probably have the best shot to succeed. But still, there may be, and Quinn Ewers also, obviously Arch will be going in a few years later because he's young, but don't really have a whole lot of confidence in some of the other quarterbacks. But yeah, if I was going to put a pecking order, I would probably say Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Quinn Ewers. Those 3 have the best shot to make a name for themselves, but it also depends on where they go. Good first half. 7-7, Indiana and Ohio State, baby. Winner plays Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. Number 5 versus number 2, one of the top 3 games of the whole entire season. And even though this game started at 9 a.m., you best believe I'm going to be here, even if I got to sacrifice some sleep. Second down and 4, man in motion. Handoff up the gut. Break that tackle, baby. There you go. First down, Hoosiers. Ellison, move the chains. Yeah, Jameis is, a knucklehead, but every once in a while, he can end up making some, decent plays. He's definitely turnover prone, but again, still gives you an opportunity to sling it once in a while and make an occasional big play. And they made enough against Pittsburgh. I saw Pittsburgh fans thinking that the game was rigged or they got cheated. Well, you got to learn how to play better in the snow, Steeler fans. Second down and 4. And it was a trap game for the Steelers. One team is like 8-2. The other team is like 2-8. And the same thing goes with the Rams and the Eagles. Anytime you end up playing a team that only has a couple wins, and that also goes for fantasy as well. Just because a team only has a couple wins and they're eliminated from fantasy or eliminated from the playoffs in college or the NFL doesn't mean that they can't be spoiler and they can't play spoiler in that particular week. Less than 4 minutes to go. Second down and 4. Shotgun set for Rourke. Handoff. Bouncing it to the outside, getting that first down. First down, Hoosiers. Move the chains. How much time do you have to be able to hang out, Mr. Williams? Are you able to stay here for like a few more minutes, the rest of the game? What's the timeline looking at for? So that way I know how many more photos I can throw up for you before you got to go. And then I'll get a few more for Captain here at halftime too. But appreciate the 2 of you for making this stream successful. First down and 10. Ohio State bringing a blitz. And a timely blitz called at the exact right time. It's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. And Simon coming in unblocked, unfazed, unscathed, and a big sack lunch. And again, you got 3 linemen trying to guard 5 guys, and someone is going to come obviously untouched, and there it is. Big sack lunch for the Buckeyes, exactly what they needed. And again, if the Buckeyes are going to win this game, it's not going to be offensively, it's going to be defensively like Oregon. Again, having no starting center and your left guard and your right guard are a little weak this year. So again, if you got good defensive tackles and nose tackles, that's how you end up beating Ohio State this year moving forward. And again, we're at the 2-minute warning, and we're knotted up at 7. It's a defensive battle, baby. You got 20 minutes. What else do you want to be able to see for photos? It could be anything. It could be Kendrick Lamar for his new album that just dropped. It can be movies. It can be TV, Wolverine and Deadpool. It could end up being Dodgers, Rams, whatever you want. You let me know. You know what? I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be based off the injury that I told you about. Now, I didn't think that, I think a majority of the masses, didn't hear the news or didn't care and didn't think it would matter. But for me, you win games based off O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. You don't win games all the time just based off quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Those are overrated positions. Right? Those are positions that get all the glory and all the blame, right? But those aren't necessarily the positions that dictate wins. O-line and D-line have more of a reason of you winning rather than your quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end. Because if your O-line stinks, you're not going to be able to get in the end zone. You're not going to have time to open up the holes for your running back. You're not going to have time for your running back to scramble, and you're not going to have time for your quarterback to read his progressions and to be able to make those big plays. So, defense wins games, defense wins championships. Now, you obviously have to have an offense good enough to put up some points, unless your defense and special teams are elite and they can take care of that for you. But you got to still have something in the tank. But again, it also helps when you have a great special teams, a great defense, and you got great coaching. And right now, you got 2 good coaches, but one right now has got a little bit of an edge for the Hoosiers. All right, see if we can get a few more photos up here. But you let me know. Anything else that you want, you let me know. I got you. And I'm kind of happy that this game is close. You want to be able to be surprised. You want to be able to not like, oh, I can predict exactly what's going to happen in this game. Ohio State's going to go up big, and then it's going to be a blowout. Like, it's nice to be able to have, top 5 matchups end up being close. And of course, we're going to get more offense in the second half. Teams are going to get tired. And every big play in the second half is going to be magnified. Every hold is going to be bigger. Every penalty called is going to be bigger. Every big throw, every big first down is going to be bigger. And at this point, I don't know if we really know who's going to win this game. But based off the first half, I would say Indiana is the better team, right now, at least in this first half. But again, the Buckeye defense is so dominant that on any given play that they could end up scoring or getting a turnover. So you never can count them out either. And we already know they have all kinds of NFL talent at wide receiver also. And their running backs are awesome as well. Really, the only downside to Ohio State is they don't have a quarterback like a C.J. Stroud or even maybe a Justin Fields. That would be better off for Ohio State because right now Howard is probably the shittiest quarterback that they've had at Ohio State in a long time. And he's still like one of the best in the country, but I'm just saying, overall, if you compare him to Fields or C.J. Stroud, you ask any Buckeye fan, they would rather have those guys playing today than Howard. And same thing goes with our guy, Dylan Gabriel. He's made some plays, but he definitely isn't Bo Nix. He's not going to be Justin Herbert. He ain't on the same level. So, Again, it's like you can have a good quarterback for college, but that doesn't mean Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel are going to be good in the next level. And I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, Harbaugh, man, he changed it in year number 1, man. And I feel bad for the San Diego Charger fans that lost their team, but Harbaugh is my coach of the year, hands down. To be able to lose Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Eckler, and then addition by subtraction, run the football, get Gus the Bus in there with J.K. Dobbins, run the football, play good defense, and finally, the defensive players that they have on paper are actually playing like they're supposed to, and they're playing like their coach. And they're going to make the playoffs this year. And I guarantee, if you're the Bills or the Chiefs or the Ravens, you don't want to see the Steelers or the Chargers. Those are going to be the sleeper teams in the AFC. And then as far as the NFC is concerned, the NFC West is not good. The NFC South is not good. It's the Eagles, the Commandos, the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, and then one team from the South and one team from the West. But I don't think we assume that anything is going to happen from any team that comes out of the West or the South, whether that's the Falcons and the Hawks, the Falcons and the Rams, the Falcons and whoever. It just seems like the North and the East have got the teams. And I don't know, other than Detroit, that might be the only team that could actually beat the AFC teams in the Super Bowl. If anyone else makes it other than Detroit, good night. The AFC's winning. And the AFC still could win even if Detroit plays. Fumbled. Muffed, and big turnover. Wow, what a bugaboo and a mental lapse there by Indiana. Fumbling the snap on the punt. And now Ohio State has a chance to be able to get a touchdown here in about one play. Wow. But it shows you, it's not about the players, right? Everyone thinks, it's the players. Fuck that. It's coaching. Look at where Oregon was before Dan Lanning and where we're at now. Look at the Chargers on where they were with the shitty coaching with Anthony Lynn and Staley. You bring in Harbaugh in his very first year after winning a natty with Michigan, and he changed the culture already, and Herbert looks like a top 5 quarterback. It really is about coaching and having the right mentors. And if you can have that, you can turn a good team to elite and a bad team to a good team. Facts. Players are overrated. It's about coaching. Howard with the keeper. And it looks like they might end up getting a lead here before halftime by Indiana's bugaboo there. Got to be able to keep that football dry. Fumbalaya. Yeah, Zay is a Buckeye fan. Oh, yeah, Ohio State scoring on this drive. Minimum field goal, but they have too many weapons. And even if they got a backup center, they're on like the 4-yard line. You have to be really shitty to not get in here. But again, play calling is everything. And if Ryan Day and Chip Kelly are going to be too conservative, and they may not score, or they might end up getting just a field goal when they need a touchdown. But at this point, you'll take anything that you can get. But it definitely seems like this offense, with Day and Chip Kelly, again, it's going to be a little bit of adjustment when you end up losing your best offensive lineman, who's your center. 3rd and goal. And I think they should have passed on 2nd down and passed on 3rd down. I wouldn't have run right up the gut against Indiana right there, but we'll see what Chip has in that store here. Handoff again. And there's the touchdown. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Trayvon Henderson, we know he's a very solid running back for the Buckeyes, and if you can take advantage of another team's mistake, even though you haven't played very well in the first half, you're going to take it. With all things considered, Zay and every Buckeye fan can actually breathe a little bit easier. They know that they haven't played well in the first half, but when you look up at the scoreboard and you have a 14-7 lead or a 14-10 lead, obviously that's going to feel pretty good with all things considered. Nice touchdown by the Buckeyes. We all have to face adversity. We have a tutty. Extra point is up and good. 14-7 Buckeyes. Ball don't lie, baby. You You got a college football team that you enjoy watching, Mr. Williams? I know you like Dodgers and I know you like Rams. Do you have anybody that you kind of lean towards? Like maybe you don't have a favorite team, but do you have a team that you like? Kind of ironic, that they always talk about Pac-12 teams not being not physical enough to join the Big Ten. Now we have like one of the best defenses in the country, and we are physical. And then all of a sudden, Ohio State, normally a physical team, has lost their physical prowess this year. That's what happens when you end up bringing a big boy like Oregon, and you can't just skate to a Big Ten championship every year. You or Michigan. It's going to be a lot harder now. And again, I said it before and I'll say it again. The Pac-12 is more competitive than the Big Ten, from top to bottom. The top of the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, respectable. But the middle and the bottom, not so much. And if you look at the Pac-12 when we existed, it was much harder to win because the teams in the middle and the bottom were fucking good. You could never count out Oregon State, Arizona State, Utah, Washington State, Oregon State. Like, I feel that the country is starting to finally realize that, again, the SEC, same thing. They're very top heavy, but in the middle and the bottom, very weak. It's like, yeah, you got Georgia, you got Bama, you got Texas and Oklahoma isn't really good anymore, right? But in the middle and the bottom, kind of mid, average to bad. It's like it's very top heavy in the Big Ten and the SEC. We had more quality teams top to bottom, but again, no one wanted to, cover and talk about us because, again, the pub and the national primetime spots are going to go to the SEC and the Big Ten. Where it's at halftime, baby. 14-7 Buckeyes, and they have to think that they are extremely lucky that it was Indiana with the bugaboo and the mistake with the fumbled snap with the punt attempt in their own 10-yard line. And again, they take advantage of Indiana's mistake, and they end up having a 7-point lead. UCLA, yeah. And everyone loves USC in California for sure. And obviously, both of them really aren't on the same level as they maybe used to in the past. So, yeah. What else do you want to do for photos before before you got to go? You want to go with some music or you want to go with some movies? Anything that you're watching? I mean, I've watched so much TV lately. Outer Banks, finished that. Cobra Kai. We got like 5 or 6 more episodes that are coming out next year, and I think in January or February. Penguin. I'm going to say this about the Penguin. Colin Farrell did such a great job portraying the Penguin with an Irish accent that he had to take away. That was like Heath Ledger Joker to me. And for me to say that about Colin Farrell and the Penguin, that's a huge compliment because Heath Ledger is one of my favorites of all time. And I like The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight. Those are my favorite Batmans because of Heath Ledger and obviously Bane and everything else that they have going on in that movie. Now, I do appreciate the older Batmans and the other Batmans that we've had, but this, for me, that's my favorite because of Heath Ledger and the job that he did. And I think with Colin Farrell, you remember him in like Phone Booth and some of these others, but he gained a shitload of weight. And again, the acting ability in that particular series, hopefully they'll come back with season number 2. But again, I haven't been in awe of an actor in a while. And I think that once you end up watching that particular show, you're going to be like, wow, he did such an amazing job. And hopefully they'll end up rewarding the fans with another season. $14-7 Buckeyes. All right, see if we can get a few more photos up here for Captain and for Mr. Williams before he's got to go. You got a Seahawk player that you want to be able to showcase here other than the Huskies? Or if you got another Husky player that you want to be able to showcase, let me know. You let me know, Captain. Bro, it's incredible. And this, like, the subtlety, of like the penguin with his limp and the way that Colin Farrell walks. He has like a sports car that's like plum, purple, because obviously that's like the color that the penguin wears. Like, just the little subtleties that you notice from the comic books and how the penguin is portrayed in the past. And then if you end up watching this, I mean, obviously he's a ruthless killer. And whatnot, and there's going to be some moments in the show you're like, no, but I definitely had a great time watching it, and I might end up watching it over again before my subscription ends up, being fully canceled, even though I've already canceled it, but I still have it for another month. And then Dexter Original, Sin or whatever is coming out in the mid-December. And so if that's on HBO Showtime, maybe I'll keep it, for a little bit longer, so that way I can watch that show, because I think that's an exclusive show on HBO or Showtime. And other than that, that's the only other big show that's coming out next month. But everything else is come out in October and November, and then anything else we got to wait till 2025. So. I mean, if Indiana earns it, I don't care who we play, but I think the country overall would like an Ohio State-Oregon rematch, and I would like that in the Natty too. Just because, you want to have the best of the best, but with that offensive lineman injury, Ohio State might not make it all the way to the end. But Oregon might not make it either. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But again, a good matchup here. Indiana is in this game, and again, we'll see who ends up winning to join Oregon in the Big Ten championship. Sopranos, yeah. I haven't watched that show. I've been meaning to watch it, but again, like when I start a show and I know that there's more than 4 or 5 seasons, sometimes I'm a little weary of commitment. Like some people have fears of commitment in relationships. Not so much for me, but as far as shows are concerned, I like to only, dive in if I'm fully committed, and especially if I'm already watching a couple shows already. Because it's like, if a show's got like 8 fucking seasons and I start it, I'm not going to go 1 season and then quit. I want to keep going. And so I have to really, really want to watch something to kind of dive in. So. That is a good question. I believe Ohio State gets the ball in the second half, but I could be wrong. But I believe they do. I think Indiana started off with the ball, but I might be wrong. I'm trying to remember. Who started off with the ball? Did Ohio State start off with the ball? I know Indiana scored first, but I'm trying to remember who started off with the ball. Maybe Ohio State started off with the ball. Maybe Indiana gets it in the half. So I don't know. Because, again, they both went kind of 3 and out early on. I think Indiana gets the ball in the second half, but they'll talk about it here in the broadcast in a second. So, yeah, but the Penguin on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 11. It's that good, and I wouldn't talk it up if I didn't think it was that good. I mean, I'm a big Batman, type of DC guy. I like Marvel. I like Star Wars, and I was blown away. And I know that I would be blown away with something like this as well. It's just a matter of time if, when I decide to dive in. So. $14-7 Buckeyes. Okay, I'll get you some Gino. And let me know, Mr. Williams, anything else photo-wise that you want. I got you. Good game. Glad I woke up extra early. Made the thumbnail yesterday. Hell, I made 2 thumbnails yesterday. But, it shows you, even though, the time is early and you're sacrificing some sleep and some time, sometimes you got to wake up, early for your dreams and your goals. College football ain't going to wait for you. And thankfully, we ended up having Mr. Williams and Captain come in to have some good support to make this stream super successful. Thank you so much. We know Sarah is always going to do a good job filling in for mod duties. Hard to be able to find someone reliable to handle the duties. And, again, Sarah had a try. Matt had a try. Sarah's back now. And, again, we always have other people like Cole and others that will fill in and help when they can. And I appreciate that. Yeah, you got to get Jeremiah Smith the ball. You got to get your best players the ball. And that's been Ohio State's problem in the first half. They have to get yelled at by the coach, and then they figure it out. Oh, yeah, we need to get the ball to our guys. But again, the reason that they haven't been able to go to Abuka, and going to Jeremiah Smith is because the offensive line isn't giving them enough time, to be able to go through the progressions to go deep and make that big attempt on that big play. So it all goes hand in hand, Yeah, I ended up spending time with Paisley. I watched the Blazers get their ass kicked by the Rockets, and then I ended up watching Duke end up beating Arizona, and that was by about 15, but Arizona just looked like they were just a little bit behind the 8 ball. But yeah, there's a reason why I didn't do a stream yesterday if I was going to stream early this morning. So, and I don't like missing, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. It's very rare that I'm going to have 3 days where I don't stream in a week. But again, I have to look out for my mental health. And again, if I feel like NHL isn't going to get supported yet, and I feel like NBA and college hoops are kind of shaky, I have to, look out for myself. And, I don't want to work for free, if I'm going to be spending all that time and energy making a thumbnail and putting in my 150% effort for nothing. So, again, we're going to lean towards college football, the NFL. Luckily, we have wrestling coming to Netflix, and that'll give us another opportunity to do wrestling instead of maybe NBA or NHL, and I'm excited about that. But there are going to be something that we have to figure out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I can always take one of those days off, but then on the other day, hopefully they'll have at least something worthwhile doing, either in college hoops, NBA, or NHL. But I feel like, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of NHL until next year just because the support has not been there. So we're at 150, 50 to go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And what do you guys think about the thumbnail? Do you think that was the right one, or do you guys think I should switch it after the broadcast is over? So we use this one, which is the same look as my Oregon, Wisconsin one that got so and so many views. And then obviously I did this one, which is normally more of what our NFL thumbnails look like. And I can always switch it to this, but I don't really think it's going to matter. Obviously I like going with bigger player images usually, but this one allows you to see the team logo better as well as the sunrise. So I think they're both good. But normally I don't make 2 thumbnails for a broadcast, but again, I always try to be a perfectionist on anything I can do. 14-7 Buckeyes. All right, let's try to get some more photos up here for Mr. Williams before he's got to go. Give him some Dodger love. Mookie. Shohei. Freddie. The Oscar. And one of my favorite players, Kike Hernandez. He may not be the best player. Hell, he might not even be, the 5th best player, 6th best player. He might be a little bit lower. But again, you never can count out a guy like Kike Hernandez in the playoffs. Seems like he always plays his best ball at that time. And that was one of the X factors, obviously, this year and almost every year the Dodgers go deep. Again, you're going to need someone else, not named Mookie, Shohei, Freddie, or Teoscar, to come up big. And he's not going to do it every game, but there's been, quite a few where he kind of makes a name for himself. My boy. I got to throw Fernando Valenzuela up here for Mr. Williams. The U. I'm going to have to hit you with the black and white, too, for OGs like me and Mr. Williams. And we're at halftime right now. About to blowouts. Glad we have a good one here. Oh, look at that handsome fella. Changed the game. Not only, for Dodger fans, but for that Latino fan base. Fernando Mania was real. And, to come from a very small village and town, to be able to have the success that he did, not many players since him have been able to do what he has done. And they won it for him, 100%. Michigan, Ohio State, but it doesn't have the same kind of feel, though. Stud right there, baby. $14-7 halftime. Let me know any other photos, Captain or Mr. Williams, that you want, and I got you. Glad we can end up doing a little Dodger celebration for y'all since you've been so busy. We've missed you. All right, we're at 13. 7 more likes to be able to get to 20. Let's get there, baby. And if you're wanting something to watch, that's what you need to be listening to. Got to get a better photo. That one came out too blurry. Here we go. You got to get on that new Kendrick album. I'm telling you, best album I've listened to in 10 years. Top to bottom. Even if Kendrick isn't like one of your, top, favorite rappers, I think you'll be very, very impressed. Once you end up listening to it, it's incredible. GNX, full album. Listen to it. It's amazing. You know, and I gotta be honest, the last time I actually listened to an album without skipping any of the songs, and just like sitting there and, you know, like listening to it, but not forcing myself to listen to it, but actually wanting to listen to every song, you know, and then ending up, you know, working and, you know, doing some other things with Paisley. And then I ended up listening to the album all over again last night, about 8 hours later. I don't do that. You know, that's not something I typically do. I mean, we're talking about, you know, once every 5 to 10 years, maybe when someone drops like that, like J. Cole or Kendrick or Drake or someone, you know, that I might be willing to do that. But, you know, this is Kendrick's first album in about 3-4 years, and it's incredible. All right, here we go. 14-7, start of the third quarter. Kendrick Lamar, listen to it. Bangers all day, baby. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and your boy O-Doggy Dog in the building, baby. Should be a 7-7 game. I agree. Go, baby. 14-7. Buckeyes. I gotta check up on Paisley here real quick. Give me 1 sec. All right, she's sleeping on the couch. Arizona State to beat BYU. I was actually surprised that Utah didn't play as well as expected in the Big 12 this year. But that'll be an interesting one. I'll be watching that one too. Obviously, I got to, you know, take Paisley on another walk, and all I'm going to be doing is watching college football all day and all night. NFL tomorrow, Red Zone, multiple games, and then we'll be back here for Sunday Night Football for the Eagles and the Rams. All right, Indiana's getting the ball. So Ohio State ended up getting it first. I just couldn't remember. All right, Indiana. Let's go. Second half, baby. Good first half. You know, and Ohio State played a little sloppy. You know, obviously, you know, missing out on their, you know, All-American center. It's been big. And then they just got lucky that Indiana botched the snap, and the holder, the punter, dropped it, and then they ended up getting a free score. You know, but if they were able to get that punt away, 100% this game would have been 7-7. And then that would have been better for Indiana, you know, their chances of winning the game. But it's not saying that they can't win this game still, but they're now a little bit behind the 8 ball, and they need to obviously get a score to catch this game to a point where at least it's 14-10 or 14-14, so that way, you know, Ohio State's not running away with it. Little short game there. Wow, you got a Chromebook for only $119? Wow, hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, especially if you had like a computer or a tablet or whatever you were using before that was just kind of old and wasn't working well. It's always good to get. Oh, fumble! Uh-oh. And it looked like Ohio State had it, but it flipped out. And let's see if Indiana, by the graces of the fucking sports gods, actually landed on it. Oh, my God. If Ohio State gets that and scores, then this game might be over. Britt in the building. How are you? Miss ya. Love ya. Chase Elliott. Napa know-how. Mr. Popular. Doing it again. No surprise there, though. Now, how does that football get out right there? Unbelievable. So you get a punch out here by Ohio State, right? And then an Ohio State player jumps on it, doesn't try to pick it up, right? And then somehow it goes through his stomach, and then an Indiana player recovers. That might have saved the game for them right there. Wow. How are you, Brett? Miss you. 3rd down and 3. That might have been a false start on Indiana. Fuck, they're shooting themselves in the foot now. Delay a game. How are you? You know, I don't usually wake up, at 7 in the morning to do a 9 a.m. broadcast. I mean, either, WWE, I would do it. And for a good, quality matchup, one of the best games of the year, that'll be the only other way. And that's what we have here. Number 5, Indiana. Number 2, Ohio State. Winner plays Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. Blitz, floater, and complete. And obviously, Indiana's offensive line just doesn't have the talent to keep up with all of the NFL players on the Buckeye defense, and it shows. Big defensive stop for the Buckeyes. And again, if they win this game, it's going to be defensively, not offensively. And also, if Gus and Joel are doing a game, I haven't been able to do a game with them on the mic, and they're my favorite out of any sport. College football, NFL, they are the best broadcasting crew combo out there. Oh, wow, down the sideline. Oh, my. One more to beat. The 30, the 20, and he's going to score the 10, the 5. This game's over. Wow. And just like that, Caleb Downs, you end up having a good defensive play that leads to another good offensive play, and you have definitely punched Indiana in the mouth, and now it's over. Can Indiana come back? Yeah, they could come back, but they're not going to win this game. And we're going to get Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten Championship, which I knew we would, and I hope we get Ohio State, Oregon in the Natty. Period. Look at that spin move. Hit him with the spin cycle. Watch them close twice. Whirlpool. Takes the correct angle. Look at the cutback. Only has one man to beat. The 10, the 5. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Extra point is up. And is good. 21-7. Gus is the best, bro. Like I said, out of everyone that's, Gus is so good. He should be doing NFL games. He should, he's better. If you want to go with Nance and Romo, Gus and Joel would blow them out of the water. And I think Nance and Romo are the best in the NFL. But if we had to do one-on-one, who would I want to listen to more? Oh, it's Gus and Joel. Joel is incredibly intelligent, and Gus has got the best passion and voice for football. He's never fake. When you hear some guys, raise their voice like Tom Brady, he's still learning, but I feel like broadcasting is completely different than playing in the game. And I feel like with Brady, he'll learn, when he needs to get excited with his voice and when he just needs to keep the tonality kind of more normal. And of course, he's trying to, show that he belongs, that he can do it. But again, you don't want to scream and yell at a point in the game where it doesn't really need that. Then it seems fake and it seems forced. And again, you don't want to come off as a fake forced announcer. And I know Tom will get better as, the years go on. But I feel like as far as announcing goes, the cream of the crop and the best of the best, it's Gus and it's Joel, hands down. 21-7 Buckeyes. Oh, the Bucks are going to win. Mike Evans is back, and we're playing the shitty-ass Giants. We're definitely going to win. No trap game for Tampa. We got it. Let's go, baby. All right, Indiana, your turn. But now, obviously, the doubt is starting to creep in. You know, you had it, right there. Then you ended up having that key turnover, cheap points that were scored right before. And the last thing that you wanted is for Ohio State to score again before you even get 3, let alone a touchdown. Now you're down by 14. You're doubting yourself. And slowly Ohio State will pull away. And they will win this game by 14 or more. But at least Indiana fought, hard and played well in that first half. And again, it shows you if you're going to play an elite team like Oregon or Ohio State or Texas or, like a Georgia or a Bama or any of those teams, and you're the underdog and you haven't played a ranked team all year. Yes, you have a great story. You're 10-0 and you're 7-0 in conference. But the reality is, if you don't play the cleanest game, you're not going to win. That's how it goes. If you don't play the cleanest game, you're not going to win. And unfortunately, it hasn't been as clean as it should be. And now you're down by 14. Hell, at this point, I don't even care if we put up 35, 40, or 50. I just want the Bucks to win. Because now, even with Godwin out, the Falcons are reeling. The Saints and the Bucks are getting a little bit hot at the right time. And now it seems like it's not going to be just the Falcons. The Saints and the Bucks might be able to catch up. So, we'll see where it goes. And then obviously in the NFC West, it could be anybody. Cardinals, Seahawks, Niners, Rams. I don't think we have an answer for that. But look at all these shitty teams in the Big Ten. All right, you got good teams at the top and in the middle, right, on that left side. But look at all those shitty teams on the right side. Golly. I mean, at least we got some respectable teams, but there's a lot of shitty teams in the Big Ten. But you could say that for the SEC as well and a lot of the other conferences. We're at 150, 50 to go. Shout out to Mr. Williams and Captain for making this successful. 21-7 Buckeyes. All right, Indiana, play with pride now. So now if you're not going to win the game, you have to make sure you play with the utmost pride. And if you end up catching up and you only lose this game by 3-7, then that's going to say a lot about the program and the coach. But again, that might not be possible. Getting yourself in this kind of hole on the road in the shoe. Because again, you're not only going to need the offense to make plays, you're going to need the defense to make plays, and you're probably going to need a special teams play on top of that. And that might be asking a little bit too much against this Buckeye team that's ranked number 2 in the nation. And remember, they're 9-1. They lost by 1 point to Oregon. This is the team that probably should be the number 1 team in the land if it wasn't for Oregon. Facts. And that's why I want to play them in the Natty and the Big Ten Championship. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Shotgun set, handoff. Decent run there by the Hoosiers. Second down and 2. Lawton with a nice run of 8 yards down to the IU 33. Little play action fake and complete. Third down and 2. Just had to send a message to Mr. Williams to appreciate the support. You always want to make sure you're showing your gratitude. Shotgun set. Rourke. And again, Indiana is discombobulated right now. They are very unsure of themselves. They're letting the Buckeyes defense get into their heads, and it shows. They can't even complete a regular screen pass or a slant. And this one, it looks like it's going to be the complete opposite of what we saw in the first half. First half, Indiana was the more dominant team up until that last little fumbled snap, and then they ended up getting that cheap touchdown to take a 14-7 lead. But other than that one mistake, Indiana was the better team. But now defense is starting to get hot for Ohio State. And again, defense wins games. Defense wins championships. 4th down and 2. Hoosiers with the punt. Was really hoping that the Hoosiers would play, clean football for at least 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter, that maybe they pull away. But unfortunately, Ohio State, even though they have injuries on that offensive line, their offense is just good enough, to be able to move the football here and there. And obviously, the defense is the key to this game. Let's go, baby. What do you think? Should I switch it to this thumbnail, or should I keep it with this one? I like them kind of both. I like them kind of small with the helmet and the shoulder pads down below to see the logos. And then I kind of like this one with the bigger player images. It's like whenever I make thumbnails, I get very torn. It really just depends on my, my feel and whatnot. But which one do you like? Which one do you think is better? This obviously I did this one because it captures more of the logo, and then you can see more of the background, right? But normally when we do football, NFL streams, and mostly college football, we typically go like this, but it depends on my image that I have. And this one, I was able to find images around the same size that worked out, but they both look good. And normally I wouldn't say smaller player image is better, but for college football, I feel like the logos, need to be shown a little bit more than the NFL, But I still like both. But I'm always grinding for you guys. My natural instinct is to go here, because I like big image, But sometimes you got to mix it up. You like the bigger one? Yeah. And normally that's the reason I go that route. And the only reason that I went smaller on some of the college football ones is that either the image was distorted or I had to go with a smaller image to make it look good. Because sometimes like when you end up doing Photoshop or you're doing some of these things, sometimes like the arm, ends up, being partial, like missing, or part of the football. So it's like I got to zoom in the image bigger and bigger. So if you notice, like sometimes the thumbs, with the player images are big, sometimes it's medium, sometimes it's small. And so I'm always trying to mirror one image with the other, because you can't have like one big player image on the left and then a smaller one on the right. It just looks weird. So I always have to kind of keep it symmetrical. And obviously I did that with the Ducks in Wisconsin. I had to make them smaller just based on what I was trying to do for the image. And but I might end up switching it. Yeah, maybe I'll switch it to the bigger player image. Howard down the sideline. And again, now you can end up, going toward your NFL wide receivers, right? Like Bruca, right? And everyone else. Like you can actually get Jeremiah Smith the ball because now, Indiana is reeling. And so now it's like just a matter of time before you get some receiver touchdowns for Ohio State. Like book it. You're going to get at least one or two before the game ends, from the receivers. And then you might end up getting another one from the ground. Yeah, that's why I'm a little torn. Again, I did the little ones because I had success with Oregon and Boise State this way, and Oregon and Wisconsin. And I thought, with this particular image, you can see more of the logo and the background. And to try to find a sunrise photo of college football is impossible. But I was able to find one. It took a long time, But normally I like going this route with the bigger, But I think for this college football stream, I think this one is suited a little bit better so you can see the team logo. But I like them both. But I kind of like the smaller one a little bit better just because, I'm so used to doing bigger player images, And I feel like sometimes it's more about the school than the actual player in the college football streams, right? But as long as at the end of the day it looks good, that's what matters, whether I use small or big player images. So 3rd down and 7. Shotgun set. Low snap for Howard. Floater towards the sideline. Uses hands. 1st down, Buckeyes. Move the chains. But normally we're only going to do small player images, for normally just college. We'll do bigger ones for the NFL. Jeremiah Smith finally getting the catch there. Both of those guys are amazing, and they'll both be in the NFL at some point or another. Jeremiah Smith and Emeka. And off up the middle. And now, when you have a lead like this, you're going to see Ohio State pound the rock, right? Bleed the clock, because anytime you have a lead in the second half, that's what great teams do. Bad teams throw the ball to let the other team catch up. Good teams and great teams run the ball, bleed the clock, and then they'll pass it when they need to. But, again, you want to make sure that you're controlling the time of possession. But when you have an offense as good as Ohio State, you're not really limited to doing one or the other. You can do a little bit of both, especially with the offensive weapons that you have, across the board. There's a few NFL players on this offense for the Buckeyes. Judkins. 1st down, Buckeyes. Move the chains. $16 for 18 for Howard, but a lot of checkdowns. He might have a good completion percentage, but I'm not sure if every Buckeye fan is sold on Howard. It's like with Duck fans, being sold on Gabriel. Like, they're at times they look great, but at other times they're a little shaky. Can you imagine when Chip Kelly actually has a C.J. Stroud in the building or even a Justin Fields, how much better the Buckeye offense is going to be? 1st down, Buckeyes. But whenever I watch the Buckeyes, I feel like I'm watching a little bit of Oregon at times because Chip is there. And obviously we know the offense is run differently than when it was when Chip was a coach for the Ducks. But there's going to be certain play calls where I'm like, ooh, I remember that. It's like I can picture the Ducks running that play. And obviously there's going to be a little bit of Oregon Duck influence on this Buckeye team, especially when you got Chip Kelly calling the plays. A lot of misdirection. First and goal, and the Buckeyes are about to score another touchdown here. Yeah, they're going to blow them out. There's just nothing Indiana can do. They don't have the type of personnel to keep up. Even if the game was in Indiana, the same result would happen. It's just that the Indiana fans would be crying and sad, And let's be honest, if Indiana played Oregon, they would have lost. If Indiana would have played Penn State this year, probably would have lost. So again, it's cool that they were 10-0, but they didn't play anybody ranked. They didn't really play that many teams that were good, So, it's cool to have the record, but again, the cream of the crop always rises to the top. Bay. 21-7, Buckeyes. Beautiful sunrise. Sarah with $1. Let me know what you want to see for a photo. Every dollar counts. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. I can't wait for Monday Night Raw, and because again, we need to be able to find other content that I enjoy doing. And NBA, like I can enjoy watching the Blazers myself, but I don't really know how many people are going to enjoy the same thing. And I just feel like a lot of the NBA streams are going to be, and then college hoops, it has to be a good matchup at the right time. And again, it's a little early, for that because we're not even close to being in March Madness. So it's like if I don't really want to do a whole lot of NBA or college hoops or NHL, we're gonna need something, to kind of break the gap. And luckily, with WWE getting Netflix, as the partner, we'll at least have that option, to do other than just doing a PLE once a month. That we might actually be able to do 4 or 5 wrestling streams, and then once we start doing like Monday Night Raw. After Monday Night Football is over, or if it's a bad matchup, if they end up getting, SmackDown or some of the other shows also, and they end up going live on that route at one point or another down the road, then that will give us another option to do a few more wrestling, kind of live stream watch parties. So I would definitely rather do wrestling than basketball or hockey, honestly. So, and then hopefully we wait a little while, and then we get into NASCAR in February, and then obviously we'll be into baseball in April. So. That's pretty much how it's going to, go. Football and baseball are going to be the priority. We'll have a few fillers. And, it's not like I'm opposed to doing any NBA or college hoops or NHL. We will, but the time has to be right. So, you want some Caleb? Not you. Second and goal. Well, Howard. Spin move. Wow, Henderson is athletic. Gains 3. Third down and goal. You might as well just hand the ball off. Right up the gut. Oh, play action. Touchdown, Buckeyes. And that was a Chip Kelly play all the way. Jelani Thurman, you run up into like a wishbone. 3 running backs back there. And then what do? You do play action. It totally confuses them. And you get the tutty. That was the excellence of execution right there. No one thought that was going to be a pass. And beautiful. They had 2 options to go to on that play. Well, Indiana played a good first half, except for that fumbled, muff punt attempt. But that was kind of the beginning of the end. As soon as that mistake happened, then everything came crumbling down. And that's what happens in college football. Extra point is up and good. 28-7, and hopefully for Indiana, for pride, being a 10-0 team, that they can get themselves to at least 20 before the game ends. And if they can't get to 20, maybe at least 17, a field goal and a touchdown, so that way that it's not getting so out of hand. But now you're down 21, and if you can't move the football on offense and Ohio State imposes their will, Ohio State might end up getting into the 40s, where it might end up being 45-10 when this game is over. So, oh my. Appreciate you. 28-7 Buckeyes. No doubt in my mind that the Buckeyes were going to win this game. And I told you guys this weeks ago, I want Buckeyes in the Big Ten Championship, and I want them in the Natty. I think that, and again, I know that if we play them, we have a chance to lose, and that's what I want. You know, I want to have that fear, you know, that you have one of those teams that could, at any given moment, can get hot enough and blow you out of the water, like we're seeing here today. And again, if we can end up beating them, and I don't know what the chances of are, the likelihood of playing them the third time in the championship, you know, it is possible, but we're going to have a Buckeyes-Ducks rematch, and I can't wait. First down and 10, handoff, but hopefully Indiana can make you know, some plays here to make it somewhat respectable, but they're not coming back and winning. Yeah, agreed. And again, that's what happens sometimes, you know, when you end up playing an opponent, you know, where you play great in the first half, but you made the critical mistake, because it would have been 7-7, you know, going in, and then you would have gotten the football. And then if you score on that opening drive and then it's 14-7 Indiana, who knows where the game goes? Maybe they do have a chance to win, you know, even if the defense starts ramping it up. But again, that muffed snap, you know, from the punter was the beginning of the end. You can't make a mistake like that in the, you know, in your own, you know, end zone, knowing that if you muff it and then, you know, you end up getting tackled, that it'll literally take the Buckeyes 1 or 2 plays to score, and then it gave them the momentum going into half, and then obviously here in the third quarter. Nice run by Lawton. Come on, IU, show me something. Trips right. Handoff. Not as much room there for Lawton. Second down and 8 at the Ohio State 40. 28-7 Buckeyes. We're at 151, 49 to go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We're going to try to get somewhere between 20 and 30, unless we get a boost in viewership. You never know when that might happen. Obviously, if this game was closer, we would get a boost probably in the fourth quarter like we did against Oregon and Wisconsin. So, but with this game being kind of a blowout now, you know, the chances of a spike is not as likely, because the people, you know, looking at scores on their phone may not want to tap into a stream where it already looks like the game is firmly in control. But you never know. I have no regrets doing this game. This is the one that I wanted to watch and evaluate. So, screen pass incomplete. Fourth down and 11. Do you go for it? You're down by 21. I mean, you already lost. I mean, yeah, you got to go for it here. You know, again, it's not like you're down 3. It's not like you're down 6. It's not like you're down 7. You're down 21. You only got 3 minutes left in the third, you know, and we know how good Ohio State's defense is. Go for it. You really don't got anything to lose, because honestly, Ohio State will probably score, you know, on this next drive regardless. So you might as well at least try to bleed some time off the clock. Hopefully get a tutty or a field goal to stop the bleeding a little bit, and give your defense a little bit of a rest. 28-7 Buckeyes. Any other games with notable scores worth sharing? Obviously, as you can see on the top of my scoreboard, you can see the ones that are there. Miami 20, Wake Forest 14. Florida beating Ole Miss by 3. 17-14. SMU up 20-0 on Virginia. Illinois down to Rutgers. Georgia up on Mass by 14. Like, why the hell do you have Mass on your UMass on the schedule? Like Georgia and Alabama are so cheap. Like, they have to stack wins, in their program by playing like the worst fucking teams in football. Like, dude, if you're supposed to be the best of the best, like actually play some decent schools. Why are you, bringing in the schedule? Why is Massachusetts on the fucking schedule for Georgia at all? Like, let's be real here. We got Texas and Kentucky coming up. Penn State, Minnesota. BYU, Arizona State will be a good one. Ranked. 14 by BYU, Arizona State 21. Battling it out in the Big 12. Colorado, Kansas. Obviously, it might be interesting in like the first quarter, second quarter, but we assume Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter will go off. Wofford, Citadel. Come on. Jesus Christ. Army and Notre Dame, another solid matchup. Army's 9-0. Notre Dame is 9-1. I'll watch that. That's at 4 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. Boise State, Wyoming later. Alabama, Oklahoma. Now, that would be interesting if Oklahoma actually was good, right? And actually had like Bob Stoops still coaching. But Oklahoma's 5-5, so they're dog shit. So we assume Alabama will win. And that's pretty much it. And then you got Iowa State, Utah at the end of the night at 4:30. Let's take a quick look at the Big Ten. Penn State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, USC and UCLA, just a battle of the mids. Oh, yeah. And again, that reminded me of Oregon, except that we're not going to line up with 3 running backs. But again, running in this type of style, you never know what kind of formation that you're going to get. And Chip Kelly is all about misdirection, sending guys in motion, moving guys from the left to the right to the left, making you think it's going to be one thing and then having it be another. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to run something like that on Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, as well as the Natty if we can play each other. 4th down and 11, and the Hoosiers punt. Now, if Indiana had a better defense, they could get back in the game. But unfortunately, they don't have enough personnel on offense and defense to catch up to a 21-point deficit. And then tomorrow we got Bucks, Giants, blowout. Chiefs, Panthers, blowout. Commanders, Cowboys, blowout. Patriots, Dolphins, blowout. Titans, Texans, blowout. Lions, Colts, could be interesting. Vikings, Bears, we'll see. Broncos, Raiders, we'll see. Niners, Packers, that could be bad. Cardinals, Seahawks, Eagles, Rams, and Ravens, Chargers. And Niners don't have Brock Purdy out there or Bosa, so Packers might end up winning that game by default. Little short gain, and obviously Chip Kelly knowing that they need to bleed the clock, and we'll get quite a bit of running here in the end of the third quarter and the fourth. LSU in 2011, Oregon, Bama, and Arkansas. Hey, Oregon may not be playing, but the chain stays on. 2nd down and 7. Little pitch. And having Judkins and Henderson, it's kind of like the Ducks with Jordan James and Noah Whittington. It's really nice to be able to have 2 or 3 running backs that are solid, that you can count on any. And if one guy ends up getting hurt, it's not a big deal. Or if one guy ends up, being out for a few plays, it's not a big deal. Now, of course, you're going to be much better if you have both, as we know for the Buckeyes and the Ducks. But both guys are very capable for the Buckeyes. Running backs, wide receivers galore. 3rd down and 5. Yeah, I want a natty, man. I don't know if we'll be able to get it this year, but it just feels like if Dan Lanning stays for 5 to 10 years, that we're going to have at least 2 or 3 opportunities, and we're going to win at least one. I don't know how many we're going to be able to win. Like if we go 3 times in the Natty, we might win 1, but that's enough for me. We've already went twice in the last 20 years and lost both of those to Auburn and Cam Newton, which we should have won that one. And then we lost, obviously, to Ohio State when Mariota was quarterback. We weren't going to win that one at all. But I think the Auburn one, we deserved to win that one, and we got screwed. When the player rolled over on the other guy's back, and they ended up kicking the field goal and beating us by just a couple. But sometimes you got to lose before you win. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to have the pain before you have the glory. And even though this offense is not what I'm used to, the defense is the best it's been in the program. So if we can end up winning a championship based off defense, that would be a dream come true for me. And if they end up having some kind of parade, in Eugene, you best believe I'll be there. Just like if the Mariners ended up winning the pennant, I would be definitely driving up to Seattle, and I would be there. I'd be there probably for a couple days. First down and 10 for the Buckeyes. Buckeye defense was a little shaky in that first half, but definitely very, very good, here in the third quarter and obviously at the end of the second quarter, imposing their will, so to speak. Play action. Look at that pressure on the edge. I mean, Rourke has no time. It's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Tulia Mala'alu. And we already know that, he was one of the highest rated prospects, coming into college. And he's continuing to show his dominance on that D-line. I mean, literally, you can't go unblocked with one of the best pass rushers in the game. But there you go. That's Indiana for you. Second down and 17. Shotgun set. And again, handing the football off is only going to get you so far. And Indiana hasn't even gone deep to be able to try to get a PI or to make a big play. And at some point, you got to spread the field out. You're already down 21. You really have nothing to lose. If you end up throwing a pick, it's like a punt, but you might as well try and test some of the secondary because obviously, what you're doing right now isn't working. But the problem is the offensive line doesn't have the, skill set to block long enough for him to make a read. He's getting sacked within like 0.5 seconds. Not a whole lot of time there. Another blitz. 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for another sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Jack Sawyer. This one's getting ugly now. Defense wins games. Defense wins championships. And Oregon knows that, we could lose to this team in the Big Ten championship. But even if we lose to them in the Big Ten championship, but then we win the Natty and we play them again, I'll be okay with that. At the end of the day, it's all about the Natty and trying to win it all. But of course, if we could end up beating them 3 times in a row, that would be a dream come true. Beat them in the regular season by 1, beat them in the Big Ten championship, let's say by 3, and then playing them in the Natty and winning by 3. That would be my that would be my best case scenario. But obviously, who knows what will happen. And obviously, I know that Ohio State could win the Big Ten championship and get revenge on Oregon, and they could win it all. But again, having that offensive lineman, the center out, is going to be the difference. And we'll see if Oregon can make them pay for losing that particular player. Yeah, well, there's nothing that Michigan do. Michigan could bring back Tom Brady and Charles Woodson in a time machine, and they still wouldn't come back and win. So we already know that. End of the third quarter, 28-7 Buckeyes. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help your boy out. See how many more we need to get to 20. Where are we at? We only need 4 more. So if you are in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Now we're at 17. Thank you so much. 3 more to go, and then hopefully we can hit the algorithm. Let's go, baby. 28-7 Buckeyes. Talk about electricity on defense. Buckeyes are bringing it. Now, too bad Michigan doesn't have Harbaugh still there, because then if you did, then it would be really exciting. Then you'd have Ohio State with Ryan Day, you'd have Harbaugh with Michigan, you'd have Penn State, and you have Oregon. Then it would be, and Indiana. But again, we would have to kind of see something would have to give. Indiana probably wouldn't be undefeated if Michigan still had Harbaugh, right? Things would be a little bit different, but Indiana could still have been 8-2 or 9-1 at this point, But again, it's obviously good for the Chargers. They haven't had a good coach in ages. So to be able to get someone like that to turn that program around, Harbaugh is the truth. 28-7, Buckeyes. Well, Ohio State's defense is too much for most teams, even for Oregon at times. So defense wins games, defense wins championships. Let's go, baby. But I haven't seen a breakdown on an offensive line like that in a while. And it shows you, Indiana hasn't played a ranked team. Now they finally did. And what happened? They got their ass kicked. So again, everyone can go for the dream scenario. Now, if Indiana had 3 ranked wins and they're 10-0, then this game would be much closer. But again, when you end up going 10-0 and you play a bunch of softies and you play a bunch of bullshit opponents, the record looks good until that point you play someone that's legit. And then most of the time you get embarrassed. And that's exactly what has happened here today. But hopefully, for pride's sake, Indiana can get at least a few more points. Hopefully they can get to, 10-17 at least before the game ends. But I don't know if that's possible. Ohio State's defense is the truth. Let me grab my water here real quick. Start of the fourth quarter from the shoe. Hopefully we get some electricity, baby. 28-7, Buckeyes. Indiana's got no answers. But again, it shows you the importance of having a good offensive line and defensive line. We didn't really see Ohio State impose their will against Indiana's offensive line or defensive line in the first half. But it's been a completely different story in the third quarter, and I assume here in the fourth quarter as well. Yeah, Thanksgiving coming up pretty soon. Mr. Williams coming through to make the stream uber successful. And what are the chances of him coming in for a morning stream like this? Very rare. We usually see him in the afternoons or the evenings, and he's been a busy guy, but I couldn't think of a better stream for him to pop into and hang out with us than this one, based off the time and everything else. So, and obviously Captain Oreo coming in, up and out with the Dono train like yourself, and helping in with the mod duties. I appreciate it. Just wish this game was a little bit closer, but we at least had a good first half, and that's what I was expecting. And at this point, you don't really need to be throwing the ball that much. You can kind of pound the rock and bleed the clock. But obviously, we still want to see Agbuka and Smith and some of those guys make some electric plays, through the air. But at this point, they just want to control the clock and kind of just run out the clock and end the game. Because I think if Ohio State really wanted to, they could probably get to the 40s or the 50s in this game. But I imagine that the tempo and the flow of the game, they'll score a couple more times. But again, they'll probably will max out at like 42, with like 2 more touchdowns. I don't think we're going to get 3 or 4 more, just based on running the ball and bleeding the clock out. Yeah, I can't wait for the food. I've been just itching. Mashed potatoes, gravy, rolls, turkey, ham. Got to go for both if it's there. Apple pie, cherry pie, pumpkin pie. Yes, please. Turkey, leftovers, little turkey sandwich. My favorite holiday of the year. You know, I love being able to have the family and the football and the food. The 3 F's that are the most important. And I love stuffing too. Stuffing is one of my favorites overall. You know, but it's like I got to have that mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey, stuffing, a roll. Like if I have those and then there's a piece of pie for me after, then oh yeah. But then I like, the casseroles and then, some of the other, options that, if they have deviled eggs, like, is that going to be the first thing I fucking grab? No. Cranberries or the cranberry sauce. Like, is it the first thing I grab? No. But I mean, I don't mind it. I kind of like being able to have just a little bit of everything. But the stuff that I'm going to go in for like double, triple, I'm going to keep going in is the turkey, the ham, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the rolls, the pie. Keep that coming. For the other things, it's just kind of like side dish, where I'm taking a couple nibbles there. Little nibble here, little nibble there, right? 3rd down and 7, trips right. Shotgun set. Howard, check down. And good defense there by the Hoosiers by not giving up. Now they're just short of the marker. Now it's 4th down. It's 4th and 1. They might as well just keep their guys out there. I mean, they already won this game, and, it's not like you're rubbing it in. I mean, hell, if Indiana can't stop you on offense or defense, I mean, normally you would hope that the team would just punt, and just, have a little bit of empathy. But when you're playing in college football and it's you versus them, there is no empathy. You're just trying to crush their fucking soul and their fan base. So play action. Howard, open man. What a play call by Chip Kelly. 1st down, Buckeyes. That was beautiful. Egg Buka. Moot chains. And they have like the cranberry discs that come out like canned, and then they have like the sauce. I actually like it. I'm not gonna go crazy on it, but I'll definitely take a little bit if it's there. Great play fake by Howard there. And again, we still haven't been able to see Jeremiah Smith really, but Igbuka is taking the role. Look at their career receptions. Hill, David Boston. I remember David Boston was built like a linebacker at wide receiver. Remember him, how ripped he was? Pass incomplete. 2nd down and 10. Oh, yeah. But definitely looking forward to Notre Dame and Army. Like, what are the chances of Army beating Notre Dame? Same kind of scenario with Indiana. Like, Army's like, what, 9-0? Notre Dame, like 9-1. So it's like a good matchup. But at the end of the day, one team is going to get exposed, and I assume Army will get exposed like Indiana. But could you imagine if Army beats Notre Dame? That would be a big thing this weekend if it happens. Highly unlikely, but that would definitely make the waves in college football news. I mean, when's the last time we've seen a undefeated military team? Army, Navy, or Air Force? Like, never. Little false start there by the Buckeyes. 2nd down and 15. Yeah, I'll be watching. I'll watch the Colorado game for Shedeur and Travis Hunter. I'll watch the Army and Notre Dame game just because of the high-profile matchup of the records and whatnot. And then I'll be looking to see if Notre Dame has any other Kyron Williams type of players that might be NFL-bound next year or the year after. It's not like I go out of my way to watch every Notre Dame game, but it's kind of nice, when you have a good matchup, ranked versus ranked, that it gives you an idea. And maybe Army has an NFL player, on their roster as well. So, ooh, nice fake. Flag on the play. See what the penalty is here. False start, illegal motion, holding, illegal formation. What do we got here? False start. illegal block in the back. Like every penalty that I didn't say. Yeah, but I'm super excited about Thanksgiving. Like I said, it's my by far favorite holiday. Obviously, Halloween is still cool. Christmas is cool. I like Easter because of the food, like Thanksgiving. But just that Thanksgiving spread. And usually with the fam, they'll do turkey and ham. And I know some people only do turkey. So it's kind of cool to be able to have, that option. I know a lot of people do ham for Easter, turkey for Thanksgiving, but sometimes the fam will do both on both holidays. And that takes a hell of a lot extra work. But to have the option of having fresh both, oh, amazing. Judkins with the short gain on second down at 22, gains about 1 or 2. Yeah, I think Valentine's Day and 4th of July are a little bit overrated, and it also depends if you have someone special to share it with. And if you don't, then it's just one of those holidays you're like, nah, I don't really care about this, But most of my 4th of July experiences really haven't been that great. But this past year, I went to that Orioles-Mariner game with my best friend, and that ended up being good. I didn't go see fireworks after because I was too tired. But, got a chance to spend time with Paisley and, watch a game, and maybe that'll be a tradition that I can end up doing, so that way my 4th of July turns out pretty good. But, yeah, I feel like I said, those two holidays are kind of overrated. Unless you end up having, someone special to share it with. And if not, then it's just like, whatever. Let's get this day over with and go to the next holiday. You got to spend money. Got to spend money. Got to get the gift. Got to get the dinner. (28-7) Buckeyes. 9:15 left in the fourth. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it helps with the algorithm. And we only need a couple more. What do we need? 3 more to go. And if you guys want to keep a count on that, 2 more to go. We're at 18. So we can keep track of the donos and keep track of the likes too. 2 more to get to 20. And then once we get to 20, we don't need to keep track. But if we're under 20, let's always keep track on the stream too. That way we can get some of the newbies that come in to smash that like button to get us to that number. Jacob in the building. What's good? I'll see you in the Big Ten Championship, my guy. And we'll see if we end up beating you guys again or if you guys get revenge. But either way, it'll be fun. I watched your Cavs lose to the Celtics. Obviously when you guys were undefeated still a solid team and a solid outing. It's just, when you play Boston, sometimes that happens. But at least you got some teams that you can root for, right? Unfortunate loss with the Steelers, but it was a snow game. Shit happens. It was a trap game for the Steelers. Still one of the better teams in the AFC. And, them and the Chargers could upset the Ravens, the Bills, or the Chiefs this year in the playoffs. I truly believe that. It could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. And I think it's the first time that we've seen the AFC this deep, right? Like the favorites are going to be the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens, but the Ravens don't have a defense. They're garbage, right? Let's just be honest about it, right? The Chiefs got offense and defense, but their defense is typically better than their offense. The Ravens don't have a fucking defense. The Bills don't have a defense. The Steelers and the Chargers do, and their offenses are just as good as the Chiefs, if not better. So if you're really being real about it, if they can get the right matchups, we might see a Steelers or a Chargers in the AFC Championship game this year because they're well balanced. But it really just depends on who they play into the playoff picture. I'm excited to see what it looks like. But at least you have a team that's fun to watch. Before Shaden Sharp came back, the Blazers were unwatchable. But now with Klingon and Sharp, we're still incredibly young, but it was Scoot and Shaden Sharp and Jeremy Grant and especially Klingon in the starting lineup over Ayton. Now the Blazers are watchable, and we're not going to win every game. We're still going to be bottom 5 worst, but at least that we can compete and have some passion, and that's exactly what you need if you want to be competitive to a certain degree. Good catch there by the Buckeyes. Yeah, why Steelers and not Cleveland Browns? You can't. You don't want to root for Jameis Winston. You don't want to root for Deshaun Watson. How can you be Cleveland, and then Pittsburgh? That's a little weird. Tell us the story. He's like, I can't do Cleveland. They stink. "45-yard attempt. And it's good. I was about to ask the same damn question. How can you be Cleveland everything and then Pittsburgh? 3 more for the Buckeyes. It's like your Guardians, your Cavs, right? Buckeyes, but then Steelers? Interesting. Cleveland, Nolans. Yeah. But it happens, right? But it's like a rival team in the division. Like for me, it's like Oregon or Seattle, it's like Blazers, Oregon Ducks, Seattle Mariners, Seattle Kraken, and then I have one team that's rando in like Florida, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, So I think everyone has probably at least one that might be, not close to them, or you have a connection with that team, But if you're Cleveland, everything, and then if you were like me, like Tampa, okay. But if you're Cleveland, Guardians, Cavs, Buckeyes, and then Steelers, not Browns, makes you kind of wonder. Why Steelers? Just because they have better history and Cleveland typically chokes in the NFL? But I think everyone typically, for the most part, some people, if you have pro teams in your state, then you could be all of that state. Like if you live in Seattle, you can do Seattle everything, right? You could be a Sonics fan when they come back, Mariners, Kraken, Seahawks, Huskies, or Cougs, and that's fine. But for some of us that don't have, a pro team here for a particular sport like the NFL or the NHL for hockey, or MLB, I have to, we only have Blazers. It's either Blazer fans here, Ducks and Beavers. So, obviously Mariners and Kraken is a very easy, trip up I-5 for me, but just didn't really have a connection with the Hawks or the Niners. Didn't want to jump on that bandwagon of all the Super Bowls of the 80s for Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Steve Young. And the Seahawks just didn't have enough good defensive players in the mid-90s for me to convert. I had to find a team that suited my personality. Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Mike Allstott. Unfortunately, the Seahawks did not have players like that. Now, if the Legion of Boom was created back in the 90s, oh yeah, I definitely would have been a Seahawk fan if that was available back then, but they didn't have those type of players back then, so didn't feel a connection, so couldn't, make them my team. So Seattle, Oklahoma City. But the thing is when the Sonics come back, then you're not going to be a Thunder fan. The Thunder shit goes out the window, and then you're going to be Sonics. And a lot of people will end up being that. All the Sonic fans that converted to being Blazer fans and Thunder fans, that'll definitely disappear when the Sonics come back. Ah, very cool. Everyone's got a connection. Back in the 80s, Cleveland was badass with Bernie Kosar. Hell, they were making AFC championship games and going against like John Elway and the Broncos. So, they had, a pretty nice team back then where they were respectable. Webster Slaughter, Bernie Kosar, Ernest Biner. They actually had themselves a little bit of a squad for a few years. But since the Bernie Kosar era, it hasn't really been that pretty over there in Cleveland. 31-7 Buckeyes. Yeah, I can't wait for the Sonics to come back so I can watch Blazers Sonics. I always loved that I-5 rivalry. It was always Blazers Sonics or Blazers Lakers, whether it's like Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and Schrempf. It'll be cool to actually have them come back. And then they'll probably pair that up with like a Vegas team or, some other, city that's, looking for an opportunity. But, doing a Vegas and a Seattle team for the NBA would make the most sense. Because you have 30 teams, you can't just bring in one, you have to bring in two. So that way they have 32 teams like the NFL. Right now they're 30, 15, and 15. So got to have an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference team. So I don't know if that would mean the Vegas team would have to be Eastern Conference, but that's what would have to happen because you'd have to have Seattle in the West. Unless they ended up moving it to like somewhere else. Nashville or something. Oh yeah, SGA is money. Top 5 player in the NBA. 3rd down and 3. We're at 151, 49 to go. A couple likes away from getting to 20. Let's get there. We're at 18, 2 more. Shotgun set. Handoff up the middle. I feel bad for Indiana, but this is what happens when you don't have anybody ranked on your schedule, and again, you have dreams and you have hopes, but you have to be battle tested. And if you're not battle tested, sometimes this is the result that you get. You get slapped in the fucking mouth. Yeah, professional hockey team would be badass. Baseball team would be badass. I don't think we're ever going to get an NFL team, but I think a baseball and a hockey team, maybe in the next 50 to 100 years, maybe, but. Wow, they have 5 sacks. I felt like they had 15 in this game. Rourke. There we go. First down, Hoosiers. Mariners and the Portland. Yeah. I mean, even if it was the A's, it would be cool. I wouldn't be an Portland A's fan. I would still be Mariners, but it would be cool to be able to go to the games to watch the other teams come in. So that way I wouldn't have to go 3.5 hours to Seattle. I would just be able to, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I would be able to go to a game and I could go see the Cubs or the Yankees or whoever, the Dodgers, coming into town, and that would be awesome. Yeah, the special team mistakes killed him. Killed Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo was sitting in Indiana, on that sideline. He was there, but as soon as that muffed, punt, he just ran out to the other side of the field and put on a Buckeye helmet, and it was game, set, match at that point. Punting woes, and you can't have punting woes terrible. And then that shanked punt right there too, and then that one going for a touchdown. Special teams is a killer, man. Third down and 7. Get rid of Rourke. Get rid of it, Rourke. Towards the sideline, short of the first down marker by about a yard. I wish that Oregon still had a AAA team. I really loved the Portland Beavers and the memorabilia that I got when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, even if someone offered me, a couple $100 for the baseballs and the, game used batting gloves and mini bats and things that I've acquired, for a team that doesn't exist anymore, I wouldn't sell it. Even if someone offered me $500, I wouldn't sell it. It's special to be able to have memorabilia for a team that no longer exists. That was a very special part of my life, when I couldn't afford to go to some Mariner games where we would just go to see the Beavers. Nice keeper there by Rourke. First down. Hoosiers, move the chains. But AAA baseball is always fun, especially when some of those players might get sent down and you might actually see like a notable name, or you get guys that get called up, in that particular scenario too. But great memories from 7 to 10 going to those Portland Beaver AAA games, let me tell you. Wish they were still in existence. Shotgun set. Indiana kind of moving the ball on this drive. Pass deflected behind the receiver, incomplete. Second down and 10. Well, the game went fast in the second half is because Ohio State started to bleed the clock. Run the football, bleed the clock. Game ends a little bit sooner than it should. But I'm glad Ohio State won. That's who I wanted. And I just feel a little bad for Indiana, only putting up 7. But that's what happens when you play one of the best teams in the country. It's not going to be easy. Even if you're 10-0 and you're uber confident, to be the best, you have to play the best. And even Ohio State with 3 losses would beat this Indiana team with being undefeated. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, that's hard to match up against. Third down and 10. Come on, Indiana. Do it for pride, baby. Let's go. Shotgun set. Handoff. Ooh, there we go. Good effort. First down, Hoosiers. At least someone is, trying to get some first downs. And even if Indiana gets to only 14, hell, even 10, that's going to be better than sitting at 31-7. But hopefully they get a touchdown. Sideline throw. And it looks like they have enough momentum here and that Ohio State isn't really bringing the blitz. Like they almost kind of feel sorry for him also. So it looks like there is going to be a strong possibility for Indiana getting a tutty here before the game ends. Give him a catch on that. Nice catch. 31-14. That's much better than 31-7. Flag on the play. Illegal substitution on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Remaining first down. Well, this is the best opportunity the Hoosiers have had since the first half to, at least get points of some kind. And hopefully they can. First down and 5. Rourke with the keeper. Good play call there. There we go. First down, Hoosiers. And they, again, if they bleed the clock down and they can, Ohio State can score, a touchdown within 30 seconds. We know that. But it kind of feels at this point that, everyone agrees the game is over. They just need to get points for pride, get it to 14. Even though they probably, if Ohio State actually wanted to shut them out and not let them score, they probably could. If they ended up doing time blitz, they could probably hold them from scoring nothing here. But, at some point, I think they feel a little pity for Indiana here. And they're going to get at least 3 on this drive, but 7 would be great. Looks better on the scoreboard. Yeah, but again, we might have some space, but again, it's all about where the stadium is going to be built. Do we have the hotel space? And that's a reason why we haven't had like an NBA All-Star game here yet, is because we don't really have the nightlife like, other, cities have. And also you have to look at the accommodations for like the hotels and motels and whatnot. Floater, back shoulder, flag on the play, incomplete. Now they can just hand the ball in for a running back touchdown. But again, we have breweries, dispensaries, wineries. So, we might not have a lot of the, nightlife like LA and Miami. But I'll tell you what, if you like, breweries, you like beer, you like wine, you like dispensaries, we got more, strip clubs, even though that's not really my thing. But, we got a lot of things to be able to do here for sure. But the best part about it, is we got the outdoors. Being able to enjoy that, whether you're drinking a beer or you're, going to the dispensary and going on a hike and whatnot. And again, we got the views, we got the mountains, we got the lakes, and the outdoor life here in the Pacific Northwest is undefeated. It's nothing like the Midwest, with the flatlands. It's nothing like the East Coast or the South. And if you come here, you'll be able to see what it's like here in Oregon and Washington. It's beautiful. I don't know if I could really live anywhere else in the country, if I'm being honest. 31-7 Buckeyes. Can't wait for the MLB to be back. Got to soak in as much college football in the NFL, and in a blink of an eye, it's going to be over. We're going to be in the college football playoff before you know it. Big Ten SEC championship before you know it. Super Bowl, Natty before you know it. And then, I'll transition into NASCAR in February and baseball in April. Can't wait. Good morning. How are you? This game is almost over. 31-7 Buckeyes. 9 a.m. start, but I was up at like 7 a.m. to get everything kind of prepped and ready. Well, we're here for another few minutes, and then I got to go take Paisley on a walk, eat some lunch, enjoy the rest of the college football matchups, and then we'll get into NFL, and then we'll end up doing Sunday night football and Monday night football. Sunday night will be a good matchup, an intriguing matchup. And Monday night could end up being decent as well. Ravens and Chargers on Monday night. And we have Eagles and Rams on Sunday, which will be a trap game for Philadelphia. Harbaugh versus Harbaugh. Yes, except one team has a defense and the other team doesn't. So that might end up being the difference. Unless Lamar can expose, that Charger defense. But we haven't really seen too many teams expose that defense yet. So, but if a team could, obviously Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay, that would be the team to do it. But again, it seems like when they play certain opponents, like when the Ravens play the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have no answer because of that defense. And they're going to be playing another top-tier defense in the Chargers. So it may end up being a little bit lower scoring than people anticipate. Now, if Lamar can figure out how to be able to win against good defenses like the Steelers and Chargers, then we might be able to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl. But until that day comes, they're going to be a good team, but they're not going to be maybe a great playoff team. They'll get there, but there's going to be quite a few teams that might have their number. Hand off up the gut. There it is. Touchdown, Hoosiers. Lawton with the tutty. There we go. A little bit of a garbage time touchdown, but again, 31-13 looks a hell of a lot better than 31-7. 31-7 just looks like you get your ass kicked. 31-14 looks bad, but not as bad as single digits. So. And we didn't really see Ohio State's defense impose their will in the first half, but in that third quarter, they blew that offensive line out of the water, and that was the difference. Good win for you guys against Maryland, a team that you should beat. And instead of going for the extra point, they're going to go for 2 to try to make the score not look as bad. Man in motion. Tips right. Shotgun set. No pressure brought. Nice throw. And 2-point conversion is good. And like, imagine not watching this game at all and then seeing 31-15. You're like, oh, Indiana played pretty good, but that really isn't the story. Just kind of garbage, touchdown and 2-point conversion at the end of the game. 31-15, but it looks a lot better on the scoreboard. All right, Buckeyes. And I imagine now we're going to get a lot of, bleeding the clock, run the football, limited passing, and just trying to end the game. And then we got the Huskies next week at Autzen. And the Big Ten championship is set. Number 1, Oregon Ducks versus number 2, Ohio State Buckeyes. We're ready. And we're getting Tez Johnson back. So that's exciting. He'll either play against the Huskies or he'll play in the Big Ten championship game or both. So that'll be a big lift for us since we had to play without him for about a month. And Evan Stewart stepped up as wide receiver 1, but the offense definitely isn't the same without Tez. And happy that he's back. 31-15 Buckeyes. All right, how many likes away are we from 20? Did we hit the number yet? If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. I think we only need 1 more. We're at 19 right now. So if you're in the room or you got a backup account, do your boy a solid and smash that like button so we can get to 20. We're at 19 right now. 1 more. $49 to get to 2. And great to have Mr. Williams and Captain show the love and the appreciation. Well, obviously this game would have been more must-see TV without those little blunders and errors by Indiana. I really feel that if they didn't have those, if they didn't give up the special teams touchdown and that fumbled snap that ended up making the game 14-7 at half, maybe this game is like, let's say 28-20 right now. It could have been a lot more interesting, 28-21, 27-21, something of that nature. But unfortunately, when you make mistakes against an elite team like the Buckeyes, you lose. But the most impressive thing about the game today was the defensive line of the Buckeyes. Fantastic. Onside kick coming in here for the Hoosiers. Minute 53 left. Onside kick attempt. And it doesn't even go 10. Flag on the play. Will Howard is so vanilla, though. It's like you might have the great completion percentage and you got NFL players at running back and wide receiver all around you, but I'm not impressed with him. I really don't think he's that good. It's like, I felt like Justin Fields and CJ Stroud gave you a hell of a lot more. This is like probably the worst quarterback that they've had. Run right up the gut, and they go down at the 1. Wow. And they could have scored right there also. Good decision there by Henderson by not trying to rub it in and to go down there at the goal line, which he could have scored if he was an ego player, but just said, fuck it, let's just end it here. And where's the defense by Indiana? My goodness. That's a smart football IQ player right there that has no ego. Selfless. And that's what you want to look for right there. Nice job by Henderson to go down. I mean, they still might end up getting into the end zone, but at least this way you can kind of take some more time off the clock. Get all the timeouts out of there. And it was ugly in the first half for the Buckeyes, but again, errors by Indiana. Defensive line really played well. And again, even though they only had, 5 sack lunches, it felt like 20. Purdue trash and Michigan trash. So you would assume that Indiana will win against Purdue and Michigan will lose to the Buckeyes. Yeah, but the thing is, you can't be embarrassed by the Huskies because your situation is completely different than every other college football team. Every other college football team didn't lose their coach that made the Natty, let alone Michael Penix Jr., Culp, Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan. Like, you literally lost your whole fucking offense to the NFL and your head coach. No team is going to be able to recover from that year one after that happens. So for you to be like in the middle of the pack is actually exactly where you should be. Again, it could have been much worse. You could have been, like a couple win team. Imagine if you only ended up winning like 2 or 3 games all year. At least you're not that bad. So you have to keep it in perspective. Lost the coach, lost your quarterback, lost your tight end, lost your running back, lost your 2 receivers, lost some defensive players, lost some other guys to graduation. Touchdown, Buckeyes. I'm not really sure if they needed to get a touchdown there to kind of rub it in. I know obviously it probably hurts seeing Oregon at the top, but you guys were there last year. You can't be a small school and be at the top every year. Like, you have to build a squad for like 4 years, and then maybe you have one really, really good year, and then you have to blow it up and start over again. That's just kind of how it typically goes. And now, since we have 4 teams in the Big Ten, it's going to take time for UCLA, USC, and Washington to catch up to Oregon, and they may never catch up to that level as long as Dan Lanning is there. Now, if Dan Lanning leaves, then things will be a little bit more on an even playing field. But for the time being, it's just all about your prospective teams just getting better at recruiting and getting better players, and mopping the floor with some of these other Big Ten schools that aren't that good. And then hopefully we can get a lot of the Pac-12 teams in the middle towards the top rather than in the middle towards the bottom. And even UCLA is better than a good chunk of the Big Ten teams that are in the middle and the bottom. So I think we're in pretty good position for year one in the Big Ten. Yeah, just trying to keep the players happy. And also situational football, trying to get Fields a chance to use his legs. But again, for you guys, that was not, there's been many reasons the Huskies have not, lived up to the expectations. Bad play calling, at the end of the game against the Cougs, doing the 2 quarterback system, shooting yourselves in the foot too much. Offense not executing, defense not getting stops. There's a lot of reasons that, it hasn't just been one reason why the Huskies haven't lived up to better numbers. You should be proud that the team overachieved and put the Pac-12 on the map with Oregon last year. And even though you ended up losing the Natty, you beat Texas in the playoff, and that was huge. And let's be honest, not many people would have been able to beat Michigan last year. Even an SEC team like Georgia and Bama might have lost to that team. So, again, you just have to appreciate, the times that you have when you're good, because it might not be every year. Handoff. Not sure if the Buckeyes really needed to rub it in with that last touchdown, but that'll be bulletin board material for Indiana in the future. And there it is. The final kneel down. Final score, number 2, Ohio State 38, Number 5, Indiana, 15. And again, the game was not as close as what the score indicates, obviously with that garbage touchdown late. But again, very hard to be able to beat a team like Ohio State when they have so many NFL players on it, right? Well, I am extremely hungry, and I haven't been able to eat anything just yet. So, I mean, I would love to be able to do some more like Thanksgiving photos and whatnot, but I am starving. I need to take care of Paisley as well. I've been up since like 6, 7 in the morning with no food. So I got to do that. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. You guys are the best. Shout out to Mr. Williams and Captain for helping us out with the Dono train. Shout out to Sarah for filling in for lead mod. She's doing a great job with that. And Cole as well for helping out with that role. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Megan, you have a great rest of your day if you're still in the building as well. Captain, Zabe, Cole, Sarah, Mr. Williams, Megan, and everyone else. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Final score, Buckeyes 38, Hoosiers 15. Enjoy the rest of your college football weekend, as well as the NFL, and then we'll be back live tomorrow for Sunday Night Football, where we're going to end up getting the Eagles and the Rams. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Dang.